Fair warning, get your blood pressure medication because you're going to need it. We're going to be doing a little bit of moving around here tonight. So I'm going to be touching in a bunch of different areas from a bunch of different websites here. Try to keep up with us. Going to have to hit you here rapid fire because I don't want things to move too slowly. I actually came to this last because I've been investigating about wealth, and we're going to come back to that. I've been talking about wealth here, but we're going to come back to that because this article in question really helps encapsulate why we're asking the questions that we are. From none other than the New York Times. So finally, the New York Times is asking about, well, who pays on a date? Gen Z, because the real thing is about the old folks who are set in their ways. They've either found what they're looking for or just given up altogether, or they're just giving up on themselves. But for Gen Z, those who are coming up, they're emerging attitudes about these things. An age-old question, who pays for dates? And you get the writer of the article here, Mr. Santul Narkar, says he went on 11 dates while working on this story, paying for 5 and splitting 6. So, I want you to hear about this because I thought this was pretty interesting here. He talks about during, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's a lengthy article, but I want to hit on the key points here. During a recent dinner at a cozy bar in Upper Manhattan, I was confronted with an age-old question about gender norms. Over bowls of ramen and sips of gin cocktails, my date and I got into a debate. Who should pay for dates? Bruh, y'all got into this discussion after you got there? This is a bad idea. My date, a 27-year-old woman I matched with on Hinge. What? For those of you who don't know your dating apps. So he met her on Hinge. Alrighty then. My date said gender equality didn't mean men and women should pay the same when they went out. Damn! Did you get that? Women, she said, earn less than men in the workplace, spending more time getting ready for outings, and pay more for reproductive care. What? Do you see this deep, fat, fried insanity? He met this chick on Hinge, goes on a date with her. She tells you she's all about gender equality except at the cash register. 27 years old and wants to have her cake and eat it too. So if a man told her that she was broke and bummy, she would tell you that she's strong and independent and women make more money than men. Now that you told her, great, belly up to this bar and pay more money than men, all of a sudden, oh no, I'm pleading poverty. Chivalry, take care of women. Pay more for reproductive care. If she doesn't have children, that's irrelevant. So you see how they just pull arguments out of their ears. This is for Gen Z males now. And by the way, what she's doing right here is not dating. This is power dynamics.
Join me and I will complete your training.
Understand that. This is not dating that you see going on right here. This is a power play. How can I get a bunch of things from him and give nothing myself? How can I get him to take on all the burden, not some of it, all of it, and meanwhile I get all the benefits? So that's not dating. That's a power play masquerading as a date. I bring that up because I want to show you something else here. I want to show you something else because there's another article that just came out here recently. found this to be rather enlightening. There's a new poll, study, whatever you want to call it, that's been released by Hinge. Yes, by Hinge. And it says the Gen Z should embrace cringe to find love. Stick with me here. The majority of Gen Z singles want to find love, but many have no dating experience. Based on what we just read, I wonder why. Now, here's what it says. I'm going to skip down here. In Hinge's new report on the top Gen Z dating trends, it sheds light on how young daters currently feel, while Hinge's experts, what makes them experts, give advice on how to actually find love. Compared to millennials, Gen Z singles are 47% more likely to say the pandemic made them nervous to talk to new people, and 25% more likely to say the pandemic made them less confident on a first date. What's more, now here's the critical part, everyone. What's more is that 44% of Gen Z daters have little to no dating experience, no doubt partly a result of lockdown during their formative years, but nearly all, 95%, this is from Hinge, nearly all Gen Z daters worry about rejection. Over half, 56%, said that worrying about rejection has held them back from pursuing a potential relationship. All these stats come from surveys conducted in August 2023 over 15,000 global Hinge users. Nearly all, 95% of the folk on Hinge said that they're most concerned about rejection. I wonder why. I wonder where that would come from. I wonder where that would come from under those circumstances. He goes on to say here that when the date ended, we split the bill. But our discussion was emblematic of a tension in modern dating. At work and on social media, where young people spend much of their personal time, they like to emphasize equity and equality. When it comes to romance and courtship, young people, specifically women and men in heterosexual relationships, seem to be following the same dating rules their parents and older generations grew up learning. Contemporary research, popular culture, and conversations I had with more than a dozen young Americans suggest that the longstanding norm still holds true. Men tend to foot the bill more than women do on dates, and there seems to be an expectation that they should.
Auntie, chill.
That's all very interesting, because wasn't this what we were just reading a couple of years ago? Isn't this what we were just reading? Isn't this what we were just seeing? Isn't this what everyone on your screen right here from the Pew Research Center? Wasn't this what we were just reading? That young women are out earning young men in several U.S. cities. Isn't that interesting? And the reason I bring this up is because, by the way, do you remember what this study said? The New York, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles metropolitan areas are among the cities where young women are earning the most relative to young men. In both New York and Washington, young women earn 102% of what young men earn when examining median annual earnings among full-time, year-round workers. Oh, no. You thought I was talking about dating. Oh, no, I'm discussing power dynamics. And for those of you who are watching me on this program here a couple of years ago when we covered this story, by the way, I told you, don't believe the hype, don't believe the numbers, and don't believe misleading statistics in this manner that are going to be skewed by other people here. But you know what? Why don't we go ahead and just stick by those numbers for just a moment? According to Pew Research in New York, where this young man is writing his article from in New York, and he's dating her in Upper Manhattan. Well, women make 102% of what young men earn. Wasn't they just doing victory laps here 14, 16 months ago? Weren't they just doing victory laps? I want the males of Generation Z to just understand when you're getting played and when you're getting gotten over on. You cannot have it both ways. Either you strong and independent and equality means all areas of life, or the men are leading and equality stops in several different areas. If equality, you can't pick and choose when you are equal. Well, I'm equal when it favors me. I'm not equal when it costs me. You're in charge when it costs me, and I'm in charge when it benefits me. That's not dating, that's power dynamics. And that's taking advantage of someone. Bringing you the insight and analysis that you'll receive absolutely nowhere else, putting all of these things in their proper context. Articles that we have read, bringing them back to you here in the future, where we're at now, so that everyone understands it succinctly. If you're picking up what I'm putting down tonight, give me the hammer emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. It's over 1,300 people in here live in just the first 10 minutes. And I would like for us to be able to go ahead and cover everything here, which is why I'm bringing you all the degrees of analysis that you'll receive absolutely nowhere else. And just reminding you with the hard numbers, the hard studies, the hard facts, the hard data. Nobody had a problem with this study a couple of years ago when I was calling it out. And yes, I did point out where the inaccuracies are in that regard. But by the way, watch them start running from it now. When we start talking about this subject, watch them start running from it. No, they're not going to want to stand by this at all. The article here now, here's where you know you're in trouble. Paying for the first date dance, some progressive defenders of the norm cite the persistent gender wage gap and the fact that women pay more for reproductive products and apparel than men, and that they spend more time preparing for dates to comport with societal norms. What the hell does that have to do with anything? Women pay more for reproductive products and men pay for everything else. Do you realize how flimsy, do you realize how desperate and pathetic you have to be to sit up here and say that that sinks? Well, I pay more for tampons. Fellas, if a female says something to you like that, don't even bother arguing. I know it shocks the conscience. It stuns the imagination. Get the hell up and walk. Get the hell up and walk. Somebody says something to you that is that bat crap crazy. Okay, so yeah, you just trying to say just anything to get over. Your job is just not to be the one to be gotten over on. A fella will spend $200 taking a woman out to a restaurant. She ain't spending that on damn reproductive products. She's got insurance to pay for her birth control. If she's using birth control, her medical insurance pays for that. Her medical insurance pays for that. What the hell are we talking about? How many men can get their medical insurance to pay for testosterone? But the women have, here, medical insurance to pay for this, and then she ain't gonna have, here to help you not have a baby. Reproductive products, in other words, to prevent you from having a baby, which is not reproduction. Don't you remember a time when the news media used to not just be shameless lying? They used to not do it like this. They used to just hedge around the edges a little bit, but now it's just, screw it. We are William Randolph Hearst everywhere. Says here that Kala Lundahl lives in New York City and works at a recruiting firm. She typically matches with people for dates through apps like Hinge. We just covered where the problems are with Hinge. And with the total cost of the date, usually over drinks, coming to around $80. What are you drinking that costs $80? And you know she ain't gonna pay for it. On the first date, Miss Lundahl, 24, always offers to split the check. Lie. But expects the man to pay. Now, did you hear that? Well, I'll offer to split the check, but I expect you to pay. Well, okay, that's not splitting the check then. That's not splitting the check if you still expect him to pay. That's not splitting it. And has encountered resistance when she offers to pay. Probably because she whined and nagged so much. Ms. Lundahl said that if the date was going well, they might continue on to a second location, usually a cheaper place, where she was more likely to pay. Excuse me. What happened to the women make more in New York City? What happened to that? These are young women with no children. They got jobs. They got insurance for their reproductive products. And they're still screaming that the men need to still pay for everything. So obviously, this isn't a matter of their budget. And this certainly makes the lie out of they want equality. You don't want equality if you're talking like this. In the chat room, Frank, you're correct. Women don't even tip. Women will sit there, look at a female waitress, and give them nothing. Women do not tip. They certainly are not as generous as men are. Women don't tip. No, at the valet, they hop right out the car. I should know. I done seen a bunch of them do it. I mean, females, let me tell you, in Miami, if you're a valet, you're going to go broke waiting on the women to pay for tips. All my ladies in here who've been female waitresses, y'all know full well the women don't tip anything. Even if you're pregnant. Oh, there's the killing part. Even if you're a woman who's pregnant. Oh, the women will just get up from the table. Oh, here it is. Here $3. I mean, they leave coins on the table. The women leave coins on the table. Ruthless. Every fella who's in here, when you think back now, you realize, by the way, yeah, Mr. Green's right. They don't tip. They sure don't. And screaming poverty. She's saying that she'll pay when we go to a cheaper place. On the second date, she said she would be more insistent on paying the entire check or splitting it. That makes no sense. Every time you listen to her, she gives herself an out. She gives herself a loophole. I might pay the whole thing. She doesn't sit up here and say, I always pay the whole thing. I always pay the whole thing. She doesn't say that. Strong and independent, my ass. On the second date, she says she would be more insistent on paying the entire check or splitting it. Ms. Lundahl's reasoning comes from her belief that the person who did the asking out, usually the man, should pay for the date, and that the person who made more money, also usually the man, should cough up. Did you listen to the so-called reasoning going on here? The person who asked out, Ms. Lundahl's reasoning comes from her belief that the person who did the asking out should pay for the date. Do you understand how many things females ask us for in the run of one day that they don't pay a dime for, by the way? I just thought I would point that out. By the way, just thought I'd throw that in there. And she's talking about this in a city where we just show from Pew Research the young females make more than the males do, and yet she's still talking like this. A couple of guys get a little stiff when I offer to pay, Miss Lundahl said. You can tell they're not comfortable with that idea. Scott Bowen, a 24-year-old accountant in Charlotte, North Carolina, said he always pays for drinks, meals, and coffees on dates. Usually, that winds up being $70 to $100 per outing. The conversation over who pays usually lasts a split second from the time the waiter sets down the check to when Mr. Bowen reaches over and says, "I'll grab that." So you're talking about technically the South. Sorry, North Carolina. When Mr. Bowen was growing up, his parents made it clear to him that he should pay for dates when taking a woman out. He acknowledged that he wanted to see the status quo changed to be more of an even split, yet he said he was uncomfortable bringing up the subject at all during dates. Our conversation was one of the rare times he had spoken about the issue with another person. Now look at this next part here. In LGBTQ relationships, who pays for dates has less to do with gender norms and more with specific relationship dynamics. What you mean is who make more money and who can lean on the other one. Knock it off. So they go on to talk here, and it says that in a study here, researchers found that young men paid for all or most of the dates around 90% of the time, while women only paid about 2%. They split about 8% of the time. On subsequent dates, splitting the check was more common, though men still paid a majority of the time, while women rarely did. Nearly 80% of men expected that they would pay on the first date, while just over half of women, 55%, expected men to pay. Did you get that? Did you get that? So, does it now make a little more sense that Hinge would have articles like this? Does it now make a little bit more sense? Does it now make some more sense to you? You want to know why it is that men don't want to pay for these things? You want to know why it is they're terrified of rejection? These are young fellas. You want to know why these young men are falling back? You want to know why it is that chivalry is dead? The women killed it. Yeah, and paying for dates. These young fellas are like, wait a minute, hold on. These fellas are doing math. That's all I'm saying. They're doing some math. And what they're finding out here at a young age is it really worth the effort and the expense? Case in point, you live in the foodie call era. You live in the serial dater era. You live in the era where females are jumping from one male to another. This guy can pay my rent. This guy can take me on dates. This guy can take care of my kids. This guy over here can let me drive his car. And that's the norm. That is the norm now. I wanted to take you on a slightly different trip here. Slightly different trip from USA Today. Now, this came out here a few months ago, but I want to go over this. I've actually been meaning to go over this for a while. I've got a number of articles that I have not actually covered here on the program. Sometimes I get backed up, and other times, just things are happening. But this article here in particular, here's what wealthy means in 2023 America in 5 numbers. As you all know, I stay on top of this kind of thing. But from Daniel DeVise, I wanted to find out what he meant here. Here's what wealthy means in 2023 in 5 different numbers. And USA Today is just littered with ads. It is just littered with it. It's horrible. It's horrible. All right, first number, 2.6 million. That lofty sum represents the net worth of the median American family in the upper 10% of income. A range that most of us would deem wealthy. No, not really. That's not wealthy. Well off, upper middle class. Rich if it's a single person, but not wealthy. No way. That's not generational wealth, sir. With a house costing $400,000, that's not generational wealth, sir. The figure comes from the Federal Survey of Consumer Finances released October 17th. Generally speaking, we might consider the top 10% of households by income as wealthy. No, we wouldn't, said Christian Deritis, deputy chief economist at Moody's Analytics. You know why that is? Because most academics are broke. That's the reason that they're saying that. Most academics, most of these numbers crunchers, all the A students and all the B students, they work for the C students. Most of your A students and B students are broke because they work for the C students. So people who do these surveys and crunch these numbers, yeah, they're the smart kids in class, but because they're not as creative or as assertive or as entrepreneurial, they tend to underachieve, so they have to get a paycheck. So in their world, yeah, that is rich to them because they're limited. Smart kids become smart adults, but they're not ambitious adults or capable of turning $1 into $2 naturally through creative means. The C students get knocked around and beat around and thrown around until they have to figure it out. The A and B students don't. There's always somebody looking for an A and B student to crunch their numbers and follow directions. C students became C students because they didn't follow directions. They charted their own path. For many of them, it'll end disastrously, but the world is run by your C students. Like it or not. Household wealth swelled at a record pace between 2019 and 2022. The government handed out unprecedented series of stimulus checks. Lockdowns kept Americans at home and encouraged savings. Stocks and home values surged. Home values have been surging now for 25 years, sir. But inflation and rising interest rates have slowed the celebration. The market was down last year, and it still has not recovered from the peaks of late 2021. So there's that, said Robert Brokamp, senior retirement advisor at the Motley Fool and certified financial planner, another A student. Next number that he wants to give you, $483,000. That is how much Americans believe they would need to earn in a year to be rich, according to an online survey of 2,521 adults conducted by Bankrate by YouGov on June 5 through 7. Sound daunting? The number is more than 6 times the $75,203 in average salary earned by full-time workers in 2021, as reported by the U.S. Census. People, $483,000, you gonna give up damn near half of that in taxes. You're gonna give up damn near half that in taxes. So you'll have somewhere around $250,000 left over. You'll have $250,000 left over. You still think that you're rich? Still think that? If you think that, that's because you have never seen how far that doesn't go. Or you're dreaming to yourself that, boy, if I could just get up higher than where I am now, and you've grossly underestimated it. You grossly underestimated it. That happens a lot. If you think $483,000 a year is rich, you think about your NBA players, your NFL players, your rappers, your banking tycoons, hell, your stock and commodities traders. You think about them. $483,000. What the hell? This just shows you how financially ignorant most of the population probably is. Because I believe that number is true. They think, oh, if I can get $500,000, dude, you're so far off. You are so far off, it's not even humorous. Hell, $483,000. People in the largest American cities, that's working class with a family of 4. If you live in Los Angeles, $483,000 of a family of 4. New York City, DC, Atlanta, hell, increasingly Chicago, Miami. $483,000 raising a family of 4 in Miami. In San Diego. Hell, Seattle, Minneapolis. Not some of the megalopolises that get shine in your rap videos or whatever. Folks, I'm just talking about some places you used to think were regular. In the bank rate survey, 72% of Americans said they feel financially insecure because of lingering inflation and rising interest rates. Financial experts caution, though, that income doesn't always equal wealth. Well, that would have helped if you had said this at the beginning, sir, while you were misleading people. You can be making $500,000, but how many assets do you have? How much debt do you have? Said Elizabeth Ayula, personal finance writer at NerdWallet. 2.2 million. That's okay. Let me bring this back in perspective. Folks, think about this for just a few moments here. When you go on those calculators for how much it costs to be able to afford a luxury car, not an exotic, not something where you got to get on a waiting list or nothing like that. I'm talking about to be able to afford something like a Range Rover, G-Wagon, S-Class, BMW 7 Series. Go and check out how much that is. This is about what you need to be making to comfortably be able to afford one of those. Not a Bentley, not a Ferrari, not a Lamborghini, to be able to afford one of those. Now, it's certainly probably more prestigious than your Jeep Grand Cherokee or Grand Wagoneer. Well, it certainly probably is. Probably more than an Escalade. But to be able to afford one of those vehicles in the $100,000 plus range, you really need to be making about $500,000 to be able to afford that comfortably without putting yourself in financial dire straits. $2.2 million. That's how much net worth an American needs to be considered wealthy in 2023, according to the Charles Schwab Modern Wealth Survey. The survey, which polled more than 1,000 adults online in March, that was March 2023, asked Americans how much money a person in their area would need to be wealthy. It's an annual survey. You might expect the figure to rise a little bit every year along with inflation, but you would be wrong. Back in 2020, survey takers opined that Americans needed 2.6 million to be wealthy. So what that tells you is that people, year after year, grossly underestimate what they need. The question isn't how much you need to be able to pay for your Toyota Camry. The question is, what would be wealthy? And clearly they haven't done the math of what it would take to live in a wealthy neighborhood with a wealthy car, with kids going to wealthy schools. Clearly they didn't give this any thought whatsoever. Surveys like this are interesting because they're asking opinions and they're about emotions, said Rob Williams, Managing Director of Financial Planning, Retirement, Income, and Wealth at Schwab. I think the story to us is more what it feels to be wealthy. $560,000. That sum is the average net worth of Americans who actually feel wealthy in 2023, as measured by the same Schwab survey. Nearly half of Americans feel wealthy, Schwab reports. And their average household wealth falls well short of the 2.2 million to which they aspire. Simply put, you can feel wealthy and have less money, Williams said. When asked to describe wealth in their own terms, Americans talk about money and assets, but they also speak of intangibles, well-being, health, and the freedom to spend time with loved ones. Yeah, there you go. 1 million. The term millionaire may have lost some of its luster, but it remains a benchmark for American wealth. The average American family now reports a net worth of nearly $1.1 million according to the new Fed survey. That sounds like a lot of money, but the super rich skew the average. The median American family, representing the midpoint among all families, holds $193,000 in net worth, the survey says, and that's going to include your home. financial advisors often say that wealth isn't a number so much as a feeling. Wealth isn't a number so much as a feeling. I'm trying to hammer that point home so that you understand where this came from. With a young woman telling this guy that even though she lives in the city where the young females make more money than the young males do, that if she had every dime she has to spend to take care of herself, understand what she's saying. She expects the guy who takes her on a date to reimburse her. Do you understand that? That's not equality. That's preferential treatment. So if she pays for, first of all, she's not paying for it, but anything she has to pay for herself, you have to reimburse her for it. What I'm saying is, do you realize that these are young females, many of whom have had a long number of sexual encounters, and they think that men owe them something. They think that men owe them. So by the time she comes to dating you, she thinks you owe her something. Why, you owe her for what she feels like she expended for all the other guys, or the equity that she feels she was able to raise up with the other guys. Well, now she's coming to you. Yes, it's true. As they get older, they think that they're due more. And as I told you, unspoken female assumptions, she will assume that she's assuming that you're going to make her life better simply because you came into it. So the last guy could get away with paying $100 on a date. She expects you to pay $200 on account of the fact that she's a year older, and she's a year older. So you have to pay for that now. Because she feels, listen very carefully, she feels that your dollar means more than hers. She feels that she feels that her money is more in need of reserve than yours. That her dollar is more sacred than yours. That your money is cheap, but her money is expensive. That's the point I want to drill home to you. Who's expected to pay? Who's expected to pay? Why is that so important? Why is the idea? Why is the concept? Why is fighting the idea and the concept of fairness so important? What I've shown you up to this point are articles. Now I want to show you something from the real world. This is from a Facebook page. I want to read this real quick to you here. He's talking about divorcing his cheating wife now that it's in his best interest to do so. I'm 43, a male, discovered my wife's, she's 44, infidelity 8 years ago. And by the way, here's the kicker about this post. It doesn't matter whether the events that are being relayed in this post are true or not. It doesn't matter if it actually occurred or not. It doesn't matter if this is a real person or just a made up story. It doesn't matter when you get to the comments. My 2 kids were in primary school at that time, so I gave her another chance.
Boy, what in the hell's the matter with you?
It was somewhat genuine as I was open to exploring if marriage can be saved And if it can't be, my kids would be older and can take the break of divorce better. I also refused to budge on third kid that she wanted. I was not gonna bring another kid into this marriage. To her credit, she has been an ideal wife since then. Worked on herself. But I never really forgave her. I just learned to be okay with the status quo until now. I had I'm not sure what that word is there they blurred out, but about a year ago, some sort of medical event, that changed my perspective. I got my cholesterol and blood pressure level down, start taking my fitness seriously, and I'm now in the best shape of my life. That triggered self-improvement in other areas. My style, my profession, etc. With that came a nagging feeling. I can get a better partner than my wife. I want to go into retirement with a woman who never betrayed me. So I am leaving my wife. I was honest with her about the reason. I think I can do better than her. That's why I'm leaving her. I told her she is still pretty, which is somewhat true, but what I need is a person who never cheated on me, and she can't be that person. Since our kids are older, now her utility for me is decreasing with every passing day. There is no point in delaying the inevitable. She's not happy is an understatement. She is accusing, and it goes on to say about her feelings, which are irrelevant. Folks, fellas, I'm sorry to everybody here. Don't women always say, I'm choosing me? Don't women always say, I'm choosing my peace? Don't women always say, well, I was searching my feelings and my emotions? Don't women always say that? The divorce courts are filled to bursting with women who walked in there. Well, I'm just not happy anymore. I'm not happy anymore. I'm not how long you been married? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Yeah, I'm not happy anymore. Well, actually, I haven't been happy for a long time. I'm not happy anymore. 80% of divorces are filed by I'm not happy anymore. And as a man, you ain't supposed to ask her a question. Well, she's not happy. Oh, well, no fault. Oh, well. She's looking for her peace. Ain't that right, Tia Mowry? What? Ain't that right, Tia Mowry? Megan Good. And I can go down the list all year. Ain't that right? Giselle Bundchen can be married to a man 5, 10, 20 years, can just get up one morning, I'm not happy and I haven't been happy for a while. All the girls get together, give her her room, give her her peace. You know, what you did was wrong. She never really recovered from that, and you have to understand that she did not recover from that. You have to understand that. You have to understand that. They all get together on Oprah and anybody else you can find. She's not supposed to just get over it for the sake of the kids and move on. You got to understand my peace. Well, you would expect in the 21st century that all the ladies would be on the same page and would have some consistency, but nope. From the I want to have it both ways files comes the comment section to this post. And all I can say is, okay. Starts off good with the first one here, and it goes straight downhill right after that. Great on getting health in check. Some people get a change in everything after health scares. She cheated, and that's horrible. But what? She cheated, And that's horrible, but now when's the last damn time that you went to a page where a man admitted that he cheated on a woman and the women got there and told the woman who had been cheated on, well, yeah, I understand. Yeah, he cheated on you and everything, la Anthony. He cheated on you and everything, but nobody wants to talk about this when you discuss, quote, dating, because it's not dating anymore, it's power dynamics. There's only a but if the men say there's a problem. The relationship is okay. When the men say there's a problem, it don't matter. The relationship's not a problem until the women say it's not okay. Then it's a problem. She cheated, and that's horrible, but I do think his reasonings are not going to get him anywhere, and merely for not being properly prepared, other than I want to find someone better than my wife. So, yeah. She cheated, but I don't think his reasonings are going to get him anywhere. Now, they never say that to women. A woman can simply tell you, I'm just trying to find my peace. I want my peace. I want my chakras. I'm bored. I'm tired. I'm unfulfilled. You never see women gang up and say, yeah, your reasonings are really screwed up and stupid, and that's not going to work for you. The women say, oh, well, you go, girl. You got to get your peace. We wish you well. Next one. Sounds like they both need time apart to evaluate their own and their spouse's worth. If either find the grass a bit greener, so be it. If they get back together, it would be with a bit more appreciation on both sides. Either way, it is hopeless to try to carry on as they are. So the woman cheated, but she's saying that they're both the problem. Gee, can't imagine why she cheated. Being a utility to someone is our life goal, so you see the sarcasm there. Good luck with finding another person to be with, LOL. Honestly, you two deserve each other. These are the comments now. These are the comments from the women. The women are not backing the man's play. The women are not defending his right to his peace and his happiness and just simply saying, hey, he hung in there as long as he could. Congratulations to him for being a good father to his children and for not abandoning the family when this slutty asshole sat up here and cheated on him. He stuck it out with her for the good of the children. They're not congratulating him or giving him accolades. They're telling him he needs to give up even more. They're telling him that he's the one in the wrong. Now, if it were a man, they would say, look what you did to your woman. Look what you did to your kids. You screwed up. You messed up. You ain't no good. We wish it was a crime. We would flog you in the streets. Here, I mean, they're coming to her defense and telling him that he's wrong. Well, yeah, she cheated on you and all, but honestly, he has self-esteem issues. What? Okay, yeah, I need a new sound one for this. I'm gonna go get a new sound bite. I need a nigga, please. That's what I need. I need a grimy nigga, please. Do you all see this? Now, the wife is the one who cheated. This man summoned the strength to stay for the sake of his children. And the response from this aged out individual here is he has self-esteem issues. It's his fault. I think he stayed because he didn't think he could do better. He never wanted to stay married. He just didn't have the courage to leave. Just go. You wasted enough of both of your lives. Any fellow with this chick here? Okay, dude, you get what you got coming. You get what you got coming. That's all I can say to you. That's all I can say to you. Any fellow who hops in here, you gonna get what you got coming to you. The way he talks about her is entirely transactional now. Now that her utility to him is waning, he wants to find and believes he can find someone who is more than somewhat still pretty. Having made this calculation, he needs a socially acceptable pretext to leave her. If she hadn't cheated on him 8 years ago, he'd have found another way. What? Folks, do you hear? Do you see how they're blaming him? They're blaming him for this. They're putting the blame on the victim, and I mean shamelessly, and not just one female. Woman after woman after woman after woman after woman is coming here and saying, oh, it's his fault. Well, he was just too weak. Well, he has self-esteem issues. Hell, damn right he's got self-esteem issues. This woman was cheating on him. You're damn right he got self-esteem issue. How the hell is he supposed to feel after somebody been cheating on him? And they're saying, yeah, you got self-esteem issues. Oh, well. They talk about it entirely transactional now. Entirely transactional? Oh, you mean like this? What? Oh, you mean entirely transactional? You mean like this? Like what's on your screen right now? Transactional like this? This kind of transactional idea about the opposite sex? You mean like this? You know, that's still being insisted on by 95% of women today. You mean this kind of transactional here? Certainly you don't have certainly if you're against transactional, you're against it across the board, right? Don't hold your breath. Just trying to warn you all. They're not a bit nice about that. When it comes time to hammer you, oh, we're not a bit nice about that. Not a bit nice. There's more. With an attitude like I can get a better partner and her utility for me, I'm not sure you can get a better partner. Women's standards have improved over the time you've been married. Okay. I want you to understand here, when women break up with a man, do other women ever tell her, girl, you too messed up, you can't get a better man? Women always say, I can get a better man. 100% of the time, they always say that. When do the women ever jump? No matter what she's done, she can cheat on a man. She can sit up here and have an orgy on a fella. She can come home riddled with STDs. She can sit up here and leave the children alone in a house fire. And the women will come to her and say, well, you can get a better partner. Women never say, girl, you are just too screwed up and you can't do any better. You're lucky that man stayed as long as he did. But for the fella, it's with that attitude, it's never, the women never have a bad enough attitude for that. Lizzo can tell you I can get a better man, and the women, you go girl, right there, you sure right. Ladies, can we talk about men being expected to pay? Because now the cost of paying here is not just financial anymore. It's chronological. Next one. All I can say here is good luck trying to date. It's not as easy as you think it'll be. I mean, the women are up in arms for real. The women are having a time. Nobody is defending his right to his peace. No, they're not defending his right to his peace. That's what you don't see. Shouldn't everybody here be unanimous? She cheated on him. He's like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I can't get over that. Bye. I just wanted you to see that. Oh, yeah, one more thing here. Now, remember, because you even got some metrosexuals weighing in. But one more thing here. Okay, so he was married to her, was married to her for some years. He had a health scare. He got himself into shape. And now he's like, you know what? I look better. Let me go do my thing. Okay, so when these women today go off and go get some lipo or a tummy tuck because going to the gym is just incredibly outrageous, you don't hear the women jumping up and saying she's wrong. She lost 80 pounds and divorced her husband. She lost 80 pounds and divorced her husband. You don't see the women get together and condemn him. You don't see folk getting together to condemn the guys when that happens. It's just like, okay. I mean, condemn the women when that happens. The women don't do it. The men will say that's wrong. The women will be like, well, you know, he probably had her fat the whole time is the problem. He was probably the problem here. If he had been more supportive of her, and then you just show him sitting at the gym with her, well, you know, she's got to go find her peace. You never hear women say, girl, you were wrong. He stood by a fellow who didn't cheat on you. Shout out Papoose. A fellow who didn't cheat on you, was loyal to you, stood by the kids, stood by your great big size, 20 big jiggly ass. He stood by you the whole time until you finally decided to screw around and get your damn life together. And when you finally did, oh, yeah, I need a new husband. And the women don't jump up and call her the most skullduggerous, despicable, disgusting, dishonorable, reprehensible wretch that you ever could have imagined. The women don't do that. You can go through all those stories. The women are just, the most they'll say is, well, you know, that's not very good, but I guess it's not good for y'all to stay in a marriage if you both ain't happy. So there must be more to the story. Nobody's sitting here saying there must be more to it or whatever, or defending him. It's just, screw him. And the thing that I'm pointing out here, the reason why I went through all of that is because I wanted to make a simple point here. The young men of Generation Z are excruciatingly aware of this walking double standard everywhere they go. You see, what makes this different from the millennial generation is because back then there were just some of the females talking like that. Today, you got 14 and 15-year-old females trying to act like they live in the lifestyles of the rich and famous, and they are the most glamorous thing you ever met. This is what these young males are encountering today. And now they're being told, now the girls are better than you, but you're expected to just treat them better. And at some point you realize the damn thing is so lopsided that it's become servitude. This has not become anything resembling a relationship. This is not a relationship. This is a dictatorship. And you're the one paying the freight. That's not very inspiring for a man. That really, really isn't. That's not very inspiring at all there. And for the young folks, I want the ladies to understand the young men out there have a totally different expectation here. They really, really do. Because, yeah, you can try to insist on that kind of thing, but eventually it runs out. They have enough bad experiences that they realize, wait a minute, hold on, this is a raw damn deal. 1 minute, she's a boss babe who don't need nothing from you. The next minute, she's telling you, you got to pay for everything. And it's okay for her to respect you for nothing. And as men, at some point, you start waking up when you've gotten beaten over the head enough. Either that or you remain so dog dumb desperate that you tell yourself, well, maybe I can make this work. Because he would rather have the company of a female who is abusing him than the company of, than to have, to be by himself not being abused. For a lot of these fellas out here, particularly raised in single mother homes, they would rather be in the company of a female who is abusive to them, who blatantly disrespects him in his face, than to have no female at all. That's a scary prospect to have. That's a scary prospect. I want to go down a little bit more here. From this Dr. Luo. It says here that surprisingly, views on gender norms didn't make much of a difference. On average, both men and women in the sample expected the men to pay whether they had more traditional views of gender roles or more progressive ones. The findings strongly showed that the traditional pattern is still there, Dr. Luo said. The persistent tradition of men paying for women might seem like a harmless artifact. Now listen to this. The persistent tradition of men paying for women might seem like a harmless artifact, but in a relationship, such acts don't exist in a vacuum. Psychologists differentiate between two forms of sexism. Hostile sexism, defined by beliefs like women are inferior to men, and benevolent sexism, defined by beliefs that like it's men's duty to protect women. But the latter can give way to the former. Did you hear that? So what they're saying is that there are two types of sexism, hostile sexism and benevolent sexism. So the one that is mostly committed by women, the idea that it's men's duty to protect women, they tell you, oh, well, you see, but that really falls back to the men being the problem. Now, he didn't say that hostile sexism gives way to benevolent sexism. He didn't say that. But now they want you to believe that benevolent, quote, sexism, what the hell? You know, if you leave her on the side of that damn freeway to change that tire on her own in the 105-degree heat of Louisiana at noontime, is that benevolent or hostile sexism? I wonder. What? I wonder which sexism that is. It shouldn't be either one. So do you understand that right here they put you in a catch-22? So you're wrong no matter what. Did you get that? You're wrong no matter what you do. As a man, no matter what you do, you're wrong. Oh, don't worry. No. They are going to let you know that, by the way, it comes down to what the woman thinks. Not what the man thinks. They are going to, if you keep reading, they are going to let you know, by the way, it comes down to what the woman thinks is okay. You're not being sexist because she can't be sexist. Wow, okay, we just defined where she can be sexist. And then he just said, by the way, that one isn't reliable. The other one, where men being sexist, that's reliable. Women sexist, no, that one's not reliable. This is just plain and simple propaganda and brainwashing, and I just want to point that out to you because when it's paid for by a multi-billion-dollar concern like the New York Times, that's serious. It says here, quote, the notion of chivalry is couched in very positive terms, said Campbell Leeper, a professor of psychology at the University of California, Santa Cruz. But over time, if people are stuck in these roles, that comes at a cost. Well, good. So men shouldn't be stuck in that role. I'm so glad you think so. Wait a minute. That's not what he means. When he says people, he's referring to females. In a 2016 study, Dr. Leeper and his co-author Alexa Painter surveyed undergraduate students in California, asking them how they rated a number of traditional courtship gestures, including men paying for dates. A majority of young men and women said men should pay for dates. But for men, the association between that view and more hostile views toward women was particularly strong. Now, see if they ever explain what the problem is. Dr. Leeper, who has been teaching a class on gender development for more than 30 years, said his students today were more liberal on a range of issues pertaining to gender identity, sexuality, and norm governing relationships, but his students often defend the principle behind men paying for dates or say they hadn't even thought how it was connected to sexism. But wait a minute, it's the women who say that they are financially inferior. No, it's not that men believe in protecting women. The women say, oh, but we're inferior to men financially. Folks, do you see how I just destroyed their PhDs and professors? So if any of you want to know how to destroy that argument, I just showed you how to do it. By the way, hey, professor, you're trying to play some mind trick or some word game. It was the females that you started out by saying that the females feel inferior to the men financially. So if the men say, okay, you're not inferior, you came back, wait, chivalry now. The men didn't say the women were inferior. The women said that they were inferior, not the men. And yet you're still saying it doesn't matter who says the women are inferior. You're wrong either which way it goes. So if you say they're inferior, you're wrong. And if they say that they're inferior to you, you're wrong. I want the young men to understand here, when you're talking about centers of academia in New York and California, there's a reason why most of you here, there's no problem with you getting your PhDs or whatever, but just understand that just like your police departments have been overrun by white supremacists, that's not Jason Black talking, that's the federal government talking. By the way, the FBI, as you know, put out that report over a decade ago. Just like your police departments and law enforcement have been completely infiltrated and overrun by white supremacists and white supremacist sympathizers, academia has been completely overrun by anti-male misandrists, both male and female. So your colleges simply cannot be trusted. The media can't be trusted, true. And your centers of so-called higher learning cannot be trusted. They simply can't be. Now, it goes on to say here that part of the reason the norm may persist in young people is that dates are inherently awkward. We already covered that they're afraid of rejection. Doesn't that tell you a lot? Now, I want to go ahead. We're going to drop down here to the end of the article here. It says, Andrew Tuckler and Miranda Zhang are a married couple in Los Angeles who met in college. Going out for expensive dates was not financially feasible for them. See, that says was not. So they opted for what college couples often do, spending time over cafeteria meals and during club events. Wait a minute. Excuse me? Because they're both only 26 years old now. Ain't we part of Generation Cheesecake Factory is for cheapies? What? What happened to Cheesecake Factory is for cheapies? Excuse me? No, you can't do that. Oh, I don't talk to men just over coffee and, oh, you too broke for me. What happened to that? Boy, this article here is just slamming into itself, walking around the corner. What happened to that? And they're describing their college years, not where they are now. I bet you she expects him to pay for every damn thing now. So they're giving you a lagging indicator. They're just talking about where they used to be. By the way, how's it going today? Don't worry. They have an excuse to give you here. Mr. Tuckler and Ms. Zhang, both 26, said the early experience of a relationship not defined by money had helped steel them for the challenges of talking about and spending money. The couple split their finances, but when it comes to dates, they alternate who pays. Did you hear that? The couple split the finances, but when it comes to dates, they alternate who pays. That doesn't mean they alternated evenly. That does not mean that they alternated evenly. Do you understand that if they split the bills, then why do not just split the dates? Because this is a power dynamic. This is not dating, it's power dynamics. That's what I want you to understand. Mr. Tuckler said he enjoyed it. By the way, hold on 1 minute. Andrew Tuckler and Miranda Zhang? What? Why is he still referring to her as Ms. Zhang?
Alrighty then.
One more thing here just crossed my mind. By the way, I just noticed this. That's why it was throwing me a little bit. By the way, if they're a married couple, why is she still being referred to as Ms. Zhang? Not Mrs. Tuckler, but she is still Ms. Zhang. Yeah, sounds like she isn't taken to that 50-50 thing quite as readily as the erroneous lying author here would have you believe. By the way, just thought I would point it out. Mr. Tuckler and Ms. Zhang. Got that? Mr. Tuckler said he enjoyed it as an act of service, even taking the extra step to tell the waiter what she'll be having. Ms. Zhang said she appreciated the gesture and enjoyed returning the favor. Yeah, buddy. What could possibly go wrong there? What could possibly go wrong there, my man? I mean, sure, makes perfect sense to me. Makes perfect sense. I want to go back a little bit here because I want you to see something else that was said, and I want you all to know I want to find out whether or not you agree with this. Talking about I think they were talking about Mr. Barnhill. And they went out on a date here. It says, I want to go to this part here. Ms. Miller initially found it hard to swallow when Mr. Barnhill would pay the entire check. But a combination of a difference in incomes, she has had fewer shifts at her job at a smoothie shop, and viewing the gesture as genuine rather than an expression of power, warmed her to the idea. Since that outing, they've tried to split their dates using the app Splitwise. I'm sure there wasn't much splitting. So do you see what happened here? Zoe Miller, 23, on the other hand, grew up in a liberal household in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Liberals in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Okay, there goes Chapel Hill. One experience on a date in college shaped her insistence on splitting the bill. While her date was in the restroom, a waiter came by and asked Miss Miller how the two wanted to pay. She said she wanted to split the bill. Did you hear that? Why didn't she just say she would pay for it? I'll split the bill. So the waiter came back with 2 checks. When Miss Miller's date came back, he was furious. He wanted to pay for the date. Now she said, I absolutely refuse not to split the check.
Lie. 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 Lie.
I don't believe that for a single solitary moment. I do not believe that. By the way, how many of you have this app Splitwise? How many of you have this app Splitwise? I'd like to know how many of you got that downloaded on your phones. I'm sure it's a hot one to download there. I'm sure it is. Sounds great to me, by the way. Split wise, that sounds like what happens there when you don't make it. Has over 10 million apps, so fellas, you might want to go ahead and introduce your girl to that one. The last part here is that once two people make it past the initial awkward courtship, what? Navigating the trickiness to date financing tends to be easier. When one person pays, man or woman, they find joy, likening the act of paying to gift giving. Now, you notice that the only time that it's referenced here as a power dynamic is in reference to men. That's the only time they talk about it as power as well as the men. Even when the women make more money, even when the women are more belligerent, even when the women are more demanding, even when the women are more entitled, even when the men are losing, it's, yeah, there you go. When was the last time you women found joy in paying the check for the restaurants? Oh, I'm so happy to do that. Well, it does occur, but you fellas would be surprised and shocked when it does. Because it does happen. It happens for fellas that they actually value. You see, let me tell you something right now. If your girl was dating Michael B. Jordan tonight, if your chick was dating Michael B. Jordan tonight, she would pay for the damn meal at every restaurant. She would pay for every movie night. She would pay for trips to Disney World. And she would tell him, you don't even need to even have any friction on your feet, Michael. She would carry that Negro on her back all the way around the Magic Kingdom.
Damn!
And you know it.
And deal with it, nigga.
And you know it. You know that every single one of you fellas here, your chick would do it and she would be honored. Even the females, ladies, can y'all just tell the damn truth? If you had the chance, if you were Michael B. Jordan's woman, you would have no problem paying for the dates just so you can get the other chicks to be taking pictures of you on Instagram sitting with your boo. Give me the diamond all the honest females, give me the diamond emoji. If we got some honest women in here, just give us the diamond emoji. Just admit, yeah, if it was Michael B. Jordan or Idris Elba, oh man, if it was Usher, oh, I'd get a second job. I'd get a second job. I'd pay for all the meals. I'd pay for the dates. Just so I can sit there and be photographed with him. Just so he can go viral on the gram. Ladies, can you be honest for just one time? We won't require you to do it after tonight. This is just a one-time thing. That's it. Just one time. But can you go ahead and just level and just tell the truth for once? Or are you really going to sit here and try to hold on it? Oh, they trying to sit in here. They trying to stick strong on it, fellas. Fellas, if you believe this, okay. All righty then. Okay. These same females in here at some point done had some nigga laying on they damn couch for 3 years with his weed habit in one hand and his Xbox controller in the other one, and she's sitting there whistling Calgon Take Me Away every morning. But yet, when now it's time to tell the truth, and all of a sudden ain't nobody, oh, I wouldn't do that. I would not do that. No, I would not. Okay, ladies. Okay. All I'm going to say right now is, to the women listening either live or recorded, this is the reason that the men of today, particularly the young men of today, have no problem getting over on you.
And deal with it, nigga.
I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just saying it as a statistical fact. When you are this blatantly dishonest, you're setting the tone. All the men looking here know y'all are just lying right now. Oh, well, we just gonna stand by it. Oh, well, we just gonna stand on it. Ain't going nowhere. We just gonna stand on it. We just gonna do that. I want Jasmira to give us a call. Let me go ahead and fire up the telephone lines. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the program all your favorite YouTubers love to hate watch. This is the one. You can definitely go ahead and join us there. Shout out here to everyone who's contributed to tonight's program on PayPal or Venmo. Here to Young Investor Allen, everybody else here. I'm trying to get my other stuff here. So thank you to everyone here tonight. Let me go ahead and just get these things up here. The telephone lines are now open, by the way. And the number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Boy, it's been a hard-ass evening here tonight. It's been a hard evening. Ladies, do you think that's helpful when you do things like that? It's like, okay, well, he asked a question. Ooh, don't tell the truth on that. I mean, do you think that alters it? What I'm saying is that this is not healthy. You cannot have an equitable relationship here or an equitable understanding when one half of the equation is like, I'm coming to the table lying. The message that you're sending to the men right now is very clear. Hey, fellas, we here to get over on you. By hook or by crook. However we got to do it. We're just here to get over on you. Any which way we can do it. We'll sit up here and say some outrageously outlandish stuff. Yeah, we know it's not true, but hey, okay, this is what it is. It is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and pin the link to Zoom in the chat room also. This is very revealing right now. I started off tonight's program talking about the men are still expected to pay, but I didn't know we were going to end up with the women are still expected to lie. Ladies, what makes you think that you're ever going to get what you want when you're coming to the table saying, well, hell, if I just got to lie to you, okay, fine. If I just got to lie, all right, well, we'll stick to that. We'll stick to that. You get to be photographed in Michael B. Jordan's Bentley or his Ferrari when he ain't cracking it up. You get to sit there at the mall with him all booed up. Please, you paying for everything. You're paying for everything. What are you talking about? Let me go ahead and get over here on the telephone lines. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Let me make sure I got it right. Yes, 646-787-1933. Let me get caller from area code 678. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, this is Jasmira.
Okay, Jasmira, it sounds like you are trying to get your whole life together. What is on your mind?
No, baby. I'm actually on the road. I'm a truck driver.
Okay, so, ma'am. Yeah. That explains a lot.
Right now.
That explains a lot right now.
Yeah.
So, who is lying, Jasmira?
What explains what? What do you get out of that?
Well, slow down. Okay, slow down. I'm asking a question here. Who is lying now?
Go ahead. About what?
You're the one left a comment in the chat room.
Oh, okay. I was referring to you about when you grafted all the women in. You saying the majority of the women on the chat has had a guy at one point or another laying on their couch doing nothing. Like, I've never in my life been that kind of woman. So that's all I was responding to, because, you know, you're probably talking to the geographical women that's like Gen X, I guess. The younger generation between, 17 and 25.
Okay. How long you been a truck driver?
I've been a truck driver for 8 years.
Okay. Why did you choose that?
Because coming out of Miami, Florida, there was nothing paying as well as trucking do. And, you know, I've always kept my driver's license clean. I never got DUI. I never you know. So that was like a last resort type of thing. I was like, well, I tried everything else, having 2 jobs at one time, working at Wendy's and Dunkin' Donuts, trying to, you know, make a nice check for myself, but that wasn't working.
Well,
So I
certainly
just took
living
the
in Miami,
opportunity, went
that
to
would be
school.
a formidable task. So certainly having 2 jobs in Miami, that's going to become the norm, let me tell
Yeah.
you. How many kids do you have?
I have 3 grown children,
What are their ages?
30, 33, 28, and 24.
Have you ever been married?
I have. My husband has passed away 4 years now.
Well, my condolences. I'm sorry to hear that. Were you were you married up until he died?
No. We were married for 6 years, and then we got divorced. Well, due to his, you know, we had issues with his son. He was very disrespectful. So, but we stayed friends during the course of, you know, our divorce, because he ended up fighting colon cancer and everything. He was a veteran, and I was just, you know, a supportive system for him.
Right, but you're saying you two got divorced though.
Yeah, we had gotten divorced.
Right.
Yeah, but we were still friends.
I'm glad to hear that. Now, how long? You said you were married for 10 years.
6 years.
You're married for 6 years.
Yes.
Okay, and you said your children's ages range from 22 to 33.
But that's not. Yeah, that wasn't their father. I was with their father for like 7 years.
Yeah, there you go.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
But I've had long.
I know y'all knew Jason wasn't gonna miss it. Just let me ease my way around that corner, but yeah, there it is. There it is.
I know you. I know you're gonna try to find something wrong.
I ain't gonna try to, ma'am. I'm not gonna try to find anything. I'm not finding anything now. I'm just asking questions. She getting all defensive. I'm just asking questions, baby. But you already know where this go. What did he do for a living?
Yeah, I know. Who, my husband at the time?
No, ma'am. The man you had the children with.
Oh, okay. Well, when I met him, he didn't really have anything, but he ended up going to truck driving school after we got together. So it was already exposed in my life from earlier on. But when we got together, I was 17, he was 21, so I wasn't even old enough to get a CDL.
Okay, but when did you marry him?
No, we didn't marry.
So you had not one, not two, but 3 children by this man. You were with him for 11 years.
No. Wait. Well, he helped me raise my first daughter. I had 2 by him. Okay, and I stayed with him. My first child, me and her daddy, we didn't make it. We were like high school sweethearts or whatever. That didn't work because he went his way, I went mine. Then I met my last 2 kids, fathers. We stayed together for like 11 years.
And then she got married.
Got it. And then after he and I broke up, I got married to.
Okay, well, you already stated that he didn't have, I think, this can be confusing for some folks. She had 1 child by a guy she was in high school with. She had a second and third child by another fellow who she says didn't have much going for him.
Right. Until a few months after we got together, he went to truck driving school. So he's been driving trucks now.
Right. But that's not the point. How old were you when you got with him?
Oh, I was 17. Yeah,
okay.
I was a young girl. He raised my first daughter.
How old were you when you had the first child?
I was 16 and pregnant. I had her at 17.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So
but
wait a second.
that happens a lot.
Wait. No, ma'am, it doesn't happen a lot. Actually, no, it just happens a lot in your block. Actually, no, that doesn't happen a lot. Actually, that's not a true statement. But
What's not a true statement that we get young pregnant at a young teenage year?
okay, not just pregnant, baby. You got pregnant back to back, 16, and she got pregnant here back to back. Basically, pregnant at 16 by one dude, and then jumps to another dude who's 5 years older.
No,
Really?
no, don't twist my story. My story is my children are 34, so she'll be 34. My middle baby should be 29, and my baby is 24.
Okay,
So that's
ma'am,
not bad at all.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Do you think that makes it better? Think about this for just a few moments. You were 16 years old, got pregnant. She immediately, slow down, listen first before you start arguing. Listen first. You were 16 years old and you got pregnant. You then become 17 years old and jump to a relationship with a 21-year-old.
Well, yeah, I was young and dumb.
Okay,
and
no.
like a lot of grown-ass people are right
Yeah,
now,
but that's not common, ma'am. No, that's not common. No, the average 16-year-old is not getting pregnant and then looking for a 21-year-old to get with the next year. No, ma'am, that's very much uncommon unless you live in the pork and beans. That's very uncommon.
Okay, well, what's your point? Because you're not going to beat me up about my past. Like,
Nobody's,
you're
ma'am,
grown.
if facts are beating you up, if facts are beating you up, that's a personal issue. I'm just illuminating the facts that you said. I'm repeating your words. Now, if your words are beating you up, you might want to find some religion or something to reconcile yourself to it. All I'm doing is repeating your words.
We can talk about what's current, though. What's current is...
No, because that is current. No, because that is current. No, what you just described, that is current, ma'am. Because, by the way, you've already expressed that the first fellow you got pregnant by was when you were 16 years old. He didn't have anything to offer. And the second guy you had not one but two kids by, you started off saying he didn't have nothing going for himself. Yeah, that's Pookie over here. It sure is.
I said when I first met him, but did you not hear when I said he's been driving trucks now as well?
Yes, ma'am,
over 30
and
years?
that got him what?
Okay.
You had nothing good to
We're
say
not
about him after
together.
11
He's
years.
married. Everybody's going on with their life.
Yes, he was
good.
such a great guy that you two split up.
So, that's fine. But anyway, I'm not going to take up too much.
Right,
of your time.
slow down,
You're gonna
slow
take
down.
my-
But you
all
said that you
my
don't pay for
years
guys on your couch. This guy was on your couch
Yeah.
for 11 years. He was so productive
Yeah,
that
but I
you
gotta
split.
I got to concentrate on the road. I'm sorry. Thanks, Jason.
Yeah,
Bye.
but you two had to split because he was such a great provider. Yeah, she didn't think we were listening to that. Yeah, he was doing so great. He was there for 11 years. What'd she say? Ooh, these facts are whooping my ass. Oh, I'll be damned. These facts are landing on my ass in this. She was sitting over there on that phone when the facts started dropping on her. Yeah, boy, she said, damn, these facts are lighting my ass up. What am I going to do with that? We don't take care of them over here. How old were you when you first got pregnant? 16? How old were you when you got with the next guy? 17? How old was he? 21? He ain't had nothing going for him. Oh, Pookie. Well, that's when we first met. Okay, well, eventually he was like, oh, hell, this is bummy as hell. 11 years later, you got two kids and nothing else to show for it, so yeah. She said, ooh, hell, people who can count are hell on me. I didn't know Jason could count. People who can count, ooh, this feels like hell. Caller area code 9454, you're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Man, you a fuck nigga, dog. You always disrespecting a black woman, dog. I would love to slap you in your shit, man.
Okay, why don't you come do it?
What's up with you, dog?
Why don't you come do it?
You a fuck nigga, dog.
Okay.
You a pussy nigga. You know that, right?
Why don't you come and do
You
it?
always trying to
Why don't you stop? Why don't you stop talking? Why don't you stop talking about it and be about it? So if you feel that way, you want to slap me, sir. Why don't you come do that?
Listen, I would slap the dog shit out you in real life.
Sir, you would have to get a dog to be able to do that. But why don't you bring your mom and your crippled grandmother with you? I'll let all three of you triple team me.
Jason, in real life, I'll slap the dog shit out of you.
I will let you and your your crippled grandmama, and your broke daddy. I'll let all four of you. I'll have a handicap match with all four of you.
I'll put a hex on your bitch ass. Don't you ever disrespect a black woman.
Oh boy, where are you from? Haiti? Where are your people from?
I'll turn your ass to a zombie, fuck boy.
Where are your people from? Are your people from Haiti? Because he's got a heavy accent.
For right now, my nigga, I got you.
He's got a heavy accent.
See the devil by your bed.
Okay, well, look here. You bring Papa Shango and whoever in the world you want along with you. All of y'all can show up here, but first you got to get it. Okay, why don't you, sir? Why don't you meet me somewhere? Why don't you meet me somewhere and we'll see if you got that energy. Why don't you meet, sir? Why don't you meet me somewhere and we'll see if you got that energy? How about that? I'm going to keep your phone number so I can make sure you keep that energy. Where would you like to meet me at? And we'll see if you keep that energy.
I would like to meet you.
Okay, where at, sir? Let's see if you keep that energy. Where would you like that to be, sir?
Wherever you want to be at, man.
Don't get scared now, skinny jeans wearing drill tip looking little nigga. Name the spot, dude.
New York.
Okay, how you gonna meet in New York coming out of 954 area code? That's Broward County.
You a whole ass nigga, man. You know that, right?
Okay, first you got to get a job if you gonna slap anybody. Okay,
like
you better get a job before you try to slap anybody. Yeah, boy, the Haitian mama boys got triggered tonight here. You always did. He got triggered in a minute. Talking about my daddy. Don't do that. No, you can bring your whole damn dysfunctional, overweight ass family with you. You can bring the whole mess of them. You can bring your peg leg grandmama. You can load her up in your damn Polaris slingshot. Or what they do down there, they ride them little motorcycles here. So if he can fit the whole damn family on his motor scooter, like the damn Beverly Hillbillies, just text me to Addie. We'll see how that goes. It goes a whole lot easier in your mind than it does in real life. It goes a whole lot easier in your mind there. Bring the whole damn family. Go ahead. Can you imagine what a motley crew that will be? Can you imagine that? Would it be wrong of me to kick his grandmama out the wheelchair? Would it be wrong of me to do that? Bring all four of them up in there. I'll take all four of you on at the same time. All four of you. If you can get him out on parole, bring your dad. If you can get him out on parole, or if he's currently making his way up here to the coast of Florida from Haiti with the current civil unrest they're suffering there, whether he's in prison here or he was in prison there and he's currently making his way up here, you can send me an email and we'll go ahead and cover that when it's time. You can go ahead and cover that when it's time. It's fine by me. It's Friday night, and niggas do mollies, and they go straight to the phone. She sounds like my mama. She probably does. It's okay thinking atheist, like I say, he represent. I can understand. Y'all, you want to clean up the resume. I get it. I understand it. If you knew who he was right now, you'd probably be telling him, look here, nigga, it's your bedtime. It's your bedtime. You know what's disrespecting the black woman? You without a job, nigga. What? That's disrespecting the black woman right there. Any female in his proximity who has just watched her life just completely disintegrate in value. She's watched her entire future depreciate before her eyes. Sitting next to him. He's sitting down there in southern Florida. He ain't wearing flip-flops. He's just barefoot. He's barefoot, walking up and down Ocean, looking at all the pretty lights, looking at all the pretty women. It's spring break. Can you imagine being him during spring break? He's barefoot, got ragged jeans. He's just standing there in front of the clubs and the night spots. He just mouth agape. Look it up. Mouth just hanging wide open. He just stunned. I could do these. I could do these for you. I could do these. He heard me in somebody's car driving by, because you know he ain't got no. He heard me in somebody's car driving by. He purse snatched a cell phone. He's down there on the strip. He purse snatched a cell phone. I'm calling this nigga. I'm calling him now. Going to give him a piece of my mind. That is the problem. Bruh, what did I say? This is wrong. I would slap you because I am offended. Okay, well, where are you at? Give me the address to the homeless shelter, sir. Where are you at? Just give me the address to the homeless shelter. At least let me know what block it's on. Give me the address to the homeless shelter. We can try that one. Call him area code 937. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yo, my name is Kevin. Man, what you be saying, Jason, like how you just roasted that dude, man, that's exactly how I feel about a lot of these young folk out here, man. Broke, no job, think they got it going on. It just pains me to watch these young girls put on these masks and that super suit. Boy, that super suit is a fool, man. It's like if they don't have that super suit, they nobody. I just love how you be roasting these folks, man, that call you with this delusional crap.
Well, you know, I mean, they need more things to echo and to bounce their thoughts and ideas off of and whatnot. And I mean, think about it. When you're in a place like, you know, when you're in a place like Southern Florida, that's a hell of a place to be. You know, if your money's not right, and that's very easy to have happen. We used to just say that about New York and LA. Now we got to say that about New York, LA, Atlanta, DC, Chicago, Dallas. If your money is not right, man, it screws up everything. So what do you do? On the one side, you don't want, on the one hand, you don't want to be upset. And on the other hand, you can't get nothing to happen. So what do you do? It's a very frustrating situation. They can work the same 40 hours that you and I did, but they're not getting the same benefit you and I did.
Hey, when I was younger, I saw a lot of that mess, but I just didn't want to be associated with it. So I took the best option smoking was I joined the military. And it broke all the stereotypes and all that mess I saw on TV about war and stuff. Once I got in the military, it was gravy, man. It was beautiful. It was probably the best job I ever had in my life. And it paid good. And I don't even understand why these young folks get encapsulated by the propaganda and won't even go research. Won't even go just take a chance.
Here's the thing about that. First of all, we didn't have smartphones when you and I were kids. So the world was still a very distant place. One of the major draws, shall we say, or marketing tools that the military used was go see the world. Well, yeah, that used to be a very powerful thing, but now they got access to the whole world in their hand. They can go on Instagram and see literally an endless number of videos from literally any spot on this earth, and many of them in space. So when you consider that that's been their experience, that particular draw doesn't have the same pull that it used to, which means that the military has to actually rely on real substantive things. Now, granted, you do have probably the most coddled generation ever, only in certain regards. They're coddled, but only in certain ways. When you talk about the military, you're talking about the physical environment. Take a look at what we did in the schools. The kids don't even have fist fights in the school. If they do, they either get arrested or expelled. And you want someone who has literally been told that you're a bad person if you had a fist fight to go and join the military and go kill people?
Well, now that's the misconception. The military isn't only kill people.
No, it isn't only kill people, but you cannot be a member of the military without that. You see, we literally can take away militaries have existed since the beginning of tribes and nation states. First tribes, then nations.
Killing people?
Well, let me explain. Militaries have existed.
You mean the kill portion?
Militaries have existed since the beginning of tribes and nation states.
Right.
So with that being the case, a military's core mission, do not get it deceived. A military's core mission is to kill people and break things. That's its only purpose for existing. Them folks over there, we're going to go mess them up quick, fast, and in a hurry. That's it. Literally anything other than that is a 20th century or at best 19th century advent. Militaries don't do that. We can take away the motor pool. You can take away parachuting. You can take away Meals on Wheels. You can take away the humanitarian stuff, a humanitarian military, my God. You can take away literally everything else. You'll still have a military. If you take away harming people, you don't have a military anymore. You got something else. I don't know what that is that you have, but that's not a military.
Right, but that portion is only designated for the few, the killing portion. Okay?
No, it's for everybody. There's not. Tell me a single person who joins the military and they are not trained and prepared to kill.
Well, that's almost a natural thing.
Okay, so let me try this again. Everybody who joins the military has to go through boot camp unless you got some weird degree. Who is being brought in and told, by the way, you'll never be required to kill anybody?
They never say you are required either. I never
got
that verbiage when I joined.
No, sir.
I did not get that, Jay. I did not get that verbiage. At no point in time did they say I might be required to kill.
No, they just prepare you in every conceivable way to do so. Just like in high school, you were not told you're here to get a diploma. They did everything possible to steer you in that direction.
Right. Okay. So, and the training that they actually give, it's learning how to read a map doesn't teach you how to kill.
No, the firearm does, and the map facilitates finding the target you're going to. Okay, but sir,
My grandpa taught me how to use a firearm.
Your grandfather did not teach you how to use an M16.
He taught me how to use a long rifle.
But your grandfather did not teach you how to use an M16.
The type of weapon doesn't define the weapon. It's a weapon still.
No, sir, but there are certain weapons that are reserved for the military because those weapons are not, sir, those weapons are not for hunting. They're not for going after elk and deer. They're man stoppers, not deer stoppers. The M16, Eli Stoner, the AK-47, Anton Kalashnikov, these weapons are not deer hunting weapons. These are man killers.
Right, but deer hunting weapons do way more damage than a man killer.
Okay, this isn't about but it doesn't have nothing to do with damage. It has nothing to do with damage. I'm glad you mentioned that. Learn something real. No, sir, you're missing the point of it. For those of you and Jason, why are you allowing him to do all this stuff here? Because I actually want you all to learn something here. I can actually use this as a teaching moment for the rest of you. The AK-47, who even Eli Stoner, who designed the M16, acknowledged as a superior weapon. The M16, however, is a more precise weapon. The AK-47 would do quote unquote more damage. The M16, however, is a more precision weapon. So if you ask any soldier in a precise situation which one he'd rather have, well, if you're a soldier stuck in a tent somewhere, you don't have much money, you probably want an AK-47. If you want a precision weapon, then you're probably going to go for an M16. And it doesn't matter. It's not about
Correct.
it's not about damage. It is about which one of these will more accurately hit what I'm shooting at.
And that's up to the shooter.
Okay, but guess what? The shooter isn't hunting
The
deer.
weapon can be the weapon can be as accurate as pinpoint, but if the shooter can't aim worth crap, it ain't.
Yeah,
worth
that's
it.
correct,
It ain't
sir,
worth it.
and that's
It ain't
correct. And the reason for that is because when your deer don't shoot back,
Right.
and that's why the weapons of the military, whether I give you 1 year or 1 week of training, this is I'm training you with a weapon for a target that will shoot back.
Right. And you want to know something, Jason? You can't train a person to stare down a barrel of a gun.
I mean, yes, you can. They
Ain't
call
no
the
way
they
that
train them all the time.
You can't train somebody to be prepared to stare down a gun shooting at you.
Okay, well, you're
It's
okay. You know what?
You never know
Okay.
how you're gonna react to that.
Even in the instances of people who don't do that, they get kicked out of the military. If you turn out to be a person who freezes up, cannot kill somebody in a life or death, that's why they put you in life or death situations that don't just involve guns. You start freezing up, you start wigging out, you start spazzing out, you're gone. They're not going to leave you in the military there because you're not just a threat to yourself anymore. You're a danger to everyone around you because they need to be able to kill and you can't.
That's in a combat situation only.
But sir, the military prepares
And
100%.
ain't no
okay,
real
but
combat going on right now
yes, you're
for
correct.
folks in
Well, for most of the last 25 years, mostly for the most part, we've kind of
Right.
segregated that off, and we've actually outsourced it to military contractors, and mercenaries, which is another issue. But that's not the point, sir. The bottom line isn't whether or not anybody goes to war. The bottom line is there's nobody who goes in the military who is not prepared for war.
Well, I'm prepared to defend myself regardless of the
Okay, but
military.
but in the military, you're not prepared for. You're not defending yourself in the military.
To the country was to get out of a real situation,
And that's good.
and build something better for myself.
And that's good. There's no problem with that. But the bottom line is that's not okay. But the bottom line is in a world full of options for young people, your motivation there is going to be a difficult one to get over. You're going in the military. That's a place where they kill people. Whether it's with drones, whether it's with airstrikes, whether it's you doing it hand to hand, the bottom line is this place is where we go kill people. And hopefully you got some skills you can take into the civilian world with you, though most military skills are actually not transferable unless you go in the Air Force to do IT services. Unless you go in the Air Force to do IT services.
I worked at a bank on the Army base. I did finance and accounting.
Okay,
Those
that's not
skills
military.
are automatically transferable to the new world.
Right, but those are not
military.
but those are not military.
To the new world.
But those are not military skills.
Jason, there was like 1,000 jobs
But
inside
sir,
the military
sir,
that had nothing to do
those
with
are not military skills. Banking is not a military skill, sir. That's that's an extra advent on the base.
The only military skills you can acquire are driving them heavy equipment and stuff.
No, sir.
And firing specialized weapons.
Okay, no, sir.
If you want to call it
no,
that.
no, sir. Okay, sir, what branch of the military were you in?
Yeah, I was in the Army.
How many years?
17.
What was your rank?
E6.
17 years, and he was
Sergeant.
17 years, and he was an E6.
Yeah, I got burned out.
Clearly.
Start actually missing. Clearly, yeah. But I got a nice pension, so it worked out.
You might once again. That's another thing. After 17 years, you might think of that as a nice pension.
Hey, it worked out. It worked out for me.
Right, but here's the issue though: the average
thing.
teenager today desires to be a YouTuber or a TikToker. They don't, and they would make that money within 24 months, not 2 decades.
Yeah.
So
and
please understand their perspective.
Small percentage of people who gonna get that chance.
Oh, absolutely. There's a minuscule.
It's
a minuscule percentage who are going to get that chance. Absolutely.
Right.
But it also does not come with the possibility of being drafted, and it doesn't require 17 years of commitment to something that will burn you out.
They already have the possibility of being drafted because if you're going to vote in any election, every 18-year-old male should be.
But sir, if you're already in the military, you've already bypassed. Number one, you're correct about selective service, but if you've already signed up for the military, you've already bypassed that part. Us out here, we have the option of being conscientious objectors. You are a deserter. If I don't show up, if they call me for the draft and I don't show up, I'm a conscientious objector. You don't show up, you're a deserter, and you're going to get court-martialed.
I won't get drafted.
No, sir. What I'm saying, no. Well, actually, as a former military person, no. Actually, that's incorrect, sir. Now
but
you should. No, sir.
If they did,
stop,
I would
sir.
gladly serve my country,
sir.
I'm not scared to serve my country,
sir. If you signed up for the military, you know full well that Uncle Sam owns you for life, not for the 17 years you were in.
Yeah. But
he can call you back. He can call you back to your original duties at any time, and you are obligated to go. And if you do not, you are not a conscientious objector. You are a deserter.
Same percentage as becoming a famous YouTuber.
Okay, but sir, my point is you have to go, and you're a deserter. If these kids don't go, they're conscientious objectors. Whole different world.
Okay, so they just.
Okay, well, his pension phone is doing great there.
Do something.
Sir, the bottom line is your service and all is wonderful. That worked for you. The average 17, 18-year-old is not coming from the same environment nor mentally or emotionally prepared to do the exact same thing. I'm not downplaying the validity of what you're saying. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying, though, is that you're dealing with a group of teenagers today who have had a completely different environment. When you and I grew up, we were watching Rocky movies and Rambo movies. These kids today have been nerfed. So in many ways, that's the reason why military recruitment is as low as it is, because the kids today are not really post-World War II, post-Vietnam individuals. That's not who they are.
Right.
Now, are you sure that you spent 17 years in the military and were left as an E6?
Yes.
Were you in the reserves?
Like my 14th year.
Were you in the reserves?
And no.
Okay, because part of those numbers there is like, sounds a little funny there. You were there for 17 years. Did you retire after 17 years?
I did retire, but I got a pension. Okay.
You did retire, but you got a pension after 17 years.
I didn't retire, but I got a pension after 17 years.
Okay, yes. After 17 years, you got a pension.
Yes.
Okay. Must have been medical disability, which, by the way, is the single biggest racket in the world. That needs to be stopped tomorrow morning. That medical disability from the military thing is the biggest damn scam in the history of scammery.
I could agree if you didn't actually injure yourself while there. I'd agree with that.
I literally know a dozen, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 dozen ex-military people who are personal fitness trainers and are on their military disability, got discharged with disability.
Hey, I know some, and when I was fight pension, I was like, these motherfuckers ain't nothing wrong with these motherfuckers. And y'all won't give me mine, and my shit's documented, proven.
Yeah, you lost an arm. You lost an arm, and they're fighting over your disability. These guys over here talking about, I get hangnails, and he's got his. So it's the crazy. Yeah. Y'all don't understand. That military disability thing is a complete and total scam. And everybody who retires, they basically, they're scamming us because everybody who retires, they basically give them a free, like swinging at somebody with their arms behind their back. They give them a free shot to get their medical disability. That's just a thing in the military. Everybody takes a pass in trying to get their military disability when it's time to retire, because they can get that on top of everything else they're supposed to get. So it's just, it's crazy.
Not to mention, it seemed like to me the VA people be just stealing the money.
They are.
I shouldn't say that.
They are. It's the biggest damn scam ever. And I'm not against
Piggy
I'm
bank.
not against the clinics. I'm not against the hospitals. I'm not against legitimate expenses. But I'll be damned. No, this is the biggest damn scam ever. But the politicians are scared. They're scared to cut anything from the military. Can you imagine? I support the veterans now. Let's get rid of this military disability for folks who are not really disabled. Every single person who's getting their military disability will all stand up in unison and say, you need to protect all of us. So they are very well coordinated to defend that scam. I will give them that. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Yeah, like I say, man, look here. I didn't say everyone gets it. Please listen for comprehension. I did not say everyone gets it. Everybody tries. Let's just keep it a buck. All my military people, y'all know damn well everybody, especially the women. Oh, I had to say that there.
And deal with it, nigga.
Especially the women. Boy, I'm telling you. Oh, come on, ladies. Y'all know how that goes. Boy, I'm telling you. You never saw so many people with quote unquote nerve damage. You never seen it in your life. You have never in your life seen so many able-bodied women with quote nerve damage. You never seen it. It is amazing. It's mind-blowing. You've never in your life seen so many disabled chicks. I mean, at yoga and everything else, you never saw it. Running marathons. I know 3 of them who run marathons. I'm like, whoa, where's your nerve damage at? Which nerve did you damage? I'm talking about, and they talk straight cash crap at those of us who are not in the military. Like, if they can go on the marathon and you can't, they're like, oh, you're just so weak. I'm weak. Wait a minute, you the heifer with disability. I ain't never been in the Social Security office trying to get disability for nothing. You the one trying to get out and get an early discharge so you can get paid for the rest of your damn days with a so-called disability. I'm talking about chicks in their 20s, y'all. I'm not talking about females in their 30s or 40s. I'm talking about chicks in their 20s. They're in their 20s getting a whole check. I'm sitting here watching them on the damn the elliptical machine. I'm sitting there watching them on the treadmill. I'm sitting there doing marathons. I'm like, oh, waste, fraud, and abuse. Waste, fraud, and abuse. Hell, maybe you young folks do need to join the military. Go in for a couple years, straight bull jive around. Then just tell them, oh, I hurt my leg. I can't really perform no more. Let me get a check. Well, what's hurt on you? Nerve damage, nigga. Well, you know, it's not like we can see that on the x-ray. I know you can't see it on the x-ray. Where my damn check? I got nerve damage. Don't touch my leg. Don't touch my leg. The military doctor wants to take a look at it. Y'all can see these heifers in their backyard. They doing jumping jacks. She got 3-4 boyfriends, got her stretched out every other week. Her PTSD didn't prevent her from spinning the block with 6 niggas. Damn. Just thought I would throw that in there. Yeah, was you disabled at Rodney's house last night? You sure wasn't disabled last night. Talk about she's a runner, she's a track star. She wasn't disabled at Rodney's place last night. She was actually rather spry. She was actually rather vibrant. I mean, that upsets me. Y'all are worried about the damn welfare people. I'm like, the military costs billions of dollars. She just told the doctor she got nerve pain. Okay, but you were sprinting up the stairs to Rodney's apartment. I'm just curious. Can you, like David Craig, can you fill me in? Can you fill me in? Brief aside before I get off of that, just to make sure I have my facts correct on that. I wanted to make sure about that. We were talking about hunting and the rivals and things. Eli Stoner, this Eugene Stoner. Eli is another person I want to talk about there, so please don't get those mixed up. I usually do. Wanted to go back and make sure about that. Glock, Browning, fascinating. By the way, fascinating. If you ever want to take a look into that, fascinating. If you ever want to go into that. So you're welcome to go look it up if you want to there. Incredible story between Stoner and Kalishnikov. Fascinating story about what caused that to occur and how those events unfolded. So if you ever want more than just a trip down memory lane, you want a piece of history, that it really does educate you about the differences between these weapons and why they're both important in their own ways. And yes, we run around killing people. It's the only thing they do with that. So certainly take your time to learn about that, or don't. That's up to you. Just another fact, another useless fact from Jason. Don't worry about it. In any case, yeah, fellas, it's the 21st century, and for Gen Z, I want the males to understand, hey, fellas, you're still expected to pay. You are still expected to pay. You're still expected to do everything. And if you can't, oh boy, you're going to find yourself in a rough situation. The screaming and the squealing will begin forthwith. It will begin forthwith. Okay, I got a caller here on Zoom. Before we let you on here, let's make sure you have your camera and your microphone on and available for us here. Otherwise, we will think that you are trolling, or at least attempting to, which would not go well. Give you 5 seconds here to go ahead and get that resolved. Whoever is on Zoom, you don't have your camera on, you got 5 seconds, or permanent vacation. Either or, which way is perfectly fine by us. All right, your 5 seconds are up. Permanent vacation. That one works too. Folks, please understand, I control the audio. I control the video. You're not going to get on unless I bring you on. You can neither be seen nor heard. I even have the sound off, so you can't be heard by anybody, not even me. Not until you get on camera. Once I see you on camera, then I'll go ahead and turn my audio on, but not everybody else's. So, by the way, it's just, come on. Come on. Let's get serious here. Then again, that could have been the little sissy-fied mama's boy from Southern Florida there getting on camera. I whip your ass. I whip your ass. Man, you better whoop some vowels and get hooked on phonics. That's what you need to do. You worry less about slapping me, and you worry more about slapping these ABCs and proper syntax and grammar. That's what you worry about. Don't worry about where I'm at. You worry about where you are. It just seems like a good idea. Call from area code 832. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Sam from Houston.
All right, Sam from Houston with a name. Sam Houston. All right, what's on your mind?
Jason, I love you. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. And I want to second what that caller was talking about with the disabilities. I've been in the military for 23 years, and I'm 100%. And I believe that Black people should join the military because it's the equivalent of $80,000 a year of gross income. So along with that, I purchased my home. I got $500,000 home, and I put no money down. So, man, I didn't know I was going to get in, so I'm a little nervous. But yeah, the benefits are incredible. I have 6 degrees. I have a law degree. So I would say reparations, we haven't got them yet, but that's one way that we can get them as a people.
Well, you know,
when they create that disability system,
I certainly do agree with the idea. I mean, under certain circumstances. Here's my problem. My problem is that the military is like prison, is like schools. They do not raise free thinkers. You're specifically brought there to be a follower. Problem. You are being brought there to be a follower of somebody else's agenda, and they tack on some perk benefits. Now, there's the issue. I'm not going to say that necessarily disqualifies military service across the board. Some of our greatest revolutionaries were in the military, Geronimo Pratt and others. So I'm far going to be from a person who sits up here and says to just dismiss it out of hand. I would never say that. But I do want it to be put in its proper context of what you can expect and what you cannot, and what it's offering you and what it doesn't, and where the difficulty is going to come in. I went to public schools, but my parents made sure that I understood when you go there, that place does not define you. The military, as you know, its sole purpose is to take people, and what I expressed last week, break them down to build them up. Its sole purpose is to define your existence. You came here as whatever you were, mama's boy from wherever you were, privileged kid from wherever you were, down and out kid from wherever you were. All of you come in one way and all of you leave out as sausage. You all leave out as soldiers of maybe varying quality, but you're all going to be soldiers. You're not going to be what you were when you came in. And as you know, the military is very efficient and very good at doing that. Being in the military is not a job or a vocation, it's a lifestyle.
That's true. Jason, I love you, but look, I'm going to just say this. Look, my military disability, I get 44.38 every single month, and I still work, right? And when I tell you it changed my life, this is why what that last caller was trying to articulate, I mean, it's life-changing. I mean, imagine if you had a regular job and on top of your job, you get another $80,000 a year of tax-free, what's the equivalent of $80,000 a year of gross income. I mean, it's life-changing. I don't think that we as Black people discuss this enough with each other. I mean, man, I can send you my documentation, all my records. I mean, it is incredible.
Brother, so, I mean, I agree with you. I don't have any debate or any dissent with that part of it. What I am saying, though, is that the majority of people that I've seen enter the military come out card-carrying coons.
Yeah, you got some of those.
No, not some of them, man. That's more the rule than the exception, because the military, as you know, because of that segregation you all have, you literally live under a different set of laws than the rest of us. And because of that, for military veterans, it perpetuates a us versus them mentality. You are literally military or civilian. You're either one of us or you're one of them. So you can't live under that environment for 5-10 years that it dictates every portion of your life from sunup to sundown, that literally back in the old days, you couldn't even wear your military fatigues in public. I know. I had relatives back I'm talking about Gulf War I. If y'all remember back just that far, you couldn't wear your military fatigues. They changed it after that, but you couldn't do that. Folks who were in the Navy, that's the reason you never saw Navy people wearing their uniforms in public, because you did not. That was an offense. So what I'm saying is that's a whole set of laws. Hell, even adultery has its whole separate set of laws that you have to live by no matter where you go. That changes you. That changes you.
Now, believe it or not, Jason, I'm actually a staff judge advocate in the reserve. So I'm a military lawyer. So you can be in the military, in the reserves, and get disability. And what you're saying, that's correct. But my whole point for calling in, I just wanted to double down on what that previous caller was talking about. I mean, it is life changing, and we haven't got what's owed to us. I think that when they created this system, because what you're saying is correct. It's somewhat of a damn scam, right? This whole system of disability in the military was created for white boys, right?
Yeah, and let me put that
to
to the side for just a moment. Let me put any arguments I have against military disability to the side for a moment. You just touched on the key point. The military has been used as a proving ground and a training ground to improve the prospects for white boys. The black men who get in the military do not get treated the same. If we had an upper echelon that did for the young black people that join the military what it does for the young white ones who join, then maybe I feel different, because I know what they would be putting out here into the public would be different. The caliber of military person that they put out black is different than the one they put out white. The white ones are going in as part of an ongoing American, i.e. white, mission statement, not the black ones. They're the bastard stepkids who are helping to support that. So if there were more guidance in that direction to specifically focus on that, and how to specifically on the military side of it, focus on how it would benefit black people when you leave, and they had a structure like that, that would be a far more effective fraternity than any of these black Greek organizations we got. If that's the way it was going, I would have very little reservations or argument against it.
Jason, check this out, man. I love you. I disagree somewhat, but look, I joined the military. I barely finished high school. I got my bachelor's degree in 7 years. I got a master's degree. I went to law school. Then I got another law degree. I got an LLM.
But you're the exception to the rule. But brother, here's the thing: even in the military, you are the exception to the rule. But you are.
Say that, man.
But you're the exception to the rule.
So check this out. I live in Texas, right? And so Texas has what's called the Hazelwood Act. And so, when you're 100% disabled, so I've been at 100% since 2021, right? Now, check this out. All of my kids, me and my wife have been married for 18 years, right? Beautiful black woman. We have 3 children. They have free tuition up to 150 credit hours to any Texas state-funded school. When you look at that benefit right there by itself, it's incredible.
And what you're saying is a great thing. Here's the problem: how old are you?
And I'm being transparent.
Right, but how old are you?
I'm 41. I just made 41 last year.
And what you just said sounds like a wonderful perk to a person who has children.
Man, it's incredible.
Okay, to a person who has children, yeah, it is. What about these kids today are having children at 27 and 30 years old?
Hey, man, if they get to join the military, and because if they learn the ins and outs of military disability, right, and they get to 100%, they're going to have the same thing. Until, the VA is the second biggest, most expensive line item in the government budget. So they're already looking at trying to cut the disability benefits, right? But until they do, as many of us that can benefit from this, because look, I got a regular job, right? I make 6 figures at my regular job, but man, when I got that 100%, it's $80,000 a year gross income on top of what I was already making, man. So essentially, it put me at around about $240,000 a year of gross income. It's life changing.
It certainly is. If you've been in for a couple of decades, it certainly is. If it happens to you much sooner,
all you need is one tour. All you need is one tour. Look.
All you gotta do is survive.
I've listened to all your where you bring on all the experts with the AC and the truck driving and the IT workshops. And one of the things I was waiting for you to hit on was this particular subject, because we do each other an injustice by not discussing this particular topic and a couple of other particular topics, but this is one of them. Like my life, Jason, my life is, I mean, wow, man.
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
Here's my thing. I mean, I get what you're saying. That's all great. It certainly has been, I'm sure, at a good advantage for you, especially at the age of 41.
Oh, it's incredible.
Congratulations. That's great. But just understand what the other side of that is. Number one, you have to go in with that being the idea. But number two, and probably even more importantly there, all those benefits, that benefits you as an individual. The military is very good. This is what I was saying before. The military is very good at taking folks' eyes off the ball. And it doesn't become about, you keep saying about black people. You're right. But the military desensitizes you to that to get you to see yourself as a member of Army, Unit, Corps, whatever the guy said in A Few Good Men. They get you to see yourself as that, not as a black person. Now, you say you live in Houston, Texas. I've been to the military bases.
I do.
I've been to the military bases. There are a few of them there in Texas. Brother, Fort Hood, those ain't black folk out there.
I was stationed there.
Those ain't black. Those aren't black. Let me tell you. No. Listen to what I'm saying. I wouldn't be surprised. I've been there. I've talked to them folk. I know folk from there. Brother, they don't see themselves as black people. They see themselves, those neighborhoods they got out there, they're all military retirees and whatnot. Whole great big huge subdivisions. They don't see themselves as black people. They see, but that is the military. No, they don't see themselves different. That's the military. That's what it does. The exception is the person who goes in and comes out like Geronimo Pratt. The rule is all of them. We know it's a rule because they got whole subdivisions with hundreds of houses filled with them. So what I'm saying is I support it. I don't have a problem with it. What I'm saying, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not arguing against it. I'm saying if you can refine it, if it could be, because that's what it does for the white kids. Now, the white kids, you talk about America, that's really euphemism for white. Okay. So for them, all the military training goes to their benefit. And when they leave the military, there's really no changing in gears, which is why they can go from the military to the police department without missing a beat. For a black person, you cannot do that. Not if you don't come out with that mindset. So if there were a way to make sure that you inculcated that mindset, I think it would work. The financial benefits become irrelevant if you lose that part.
Can I say one thing, Jason? So, man, I was in the reserves for like 19 years. I had never filed for my disability, right? And a buddy of mine who's a police officer who I was in the reserves with, he bought $1 million home, right? And he invited me over. He built a $100,000 pool in his backyard. And when I saw that, man, dude, I got sick because I'm like, man, how can you afford this? No property taxes, right? His mortgage on that $1 million home at the time was lower than the mortgage on my house, right? And so my whole point is we don't talk about this enough amongst ourselves. Like, I mean, the military, man, like, look, I bought 2 homes. The home I have right now, I have a 3-story.
Okay, brother, we're kind of talking past each other here. We all got it about the financial benefits. We got that
I'm talking
part.
about the money, man.
Okay, yes, sir. We got the financial benefits, but the problem is the financial benefits without the identity is a negative.
Man, look, I'm still a black man. I've been black since day one.
Right, but most people that leave the military don't see themselves that way. That's the problem.
Not true, Jason.
Sir,
that's not true.
I was raised. Yes, you. Y-O-U. Yes, you.
And many other like me. As a matter of fact, that's all I fool with. And the people that I serve with, who are in the military, who are black, they're just like me.
Brother, you have a very small circle of friends then, and I suggest you keep it where it is. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Yeah, like the military is, y'all go to Facebook, Instagram. Any of you who live near a military, anybody here who has served on a naval vessel? What? Anyone here who has served on a Navy vessel? They got a ship, full damn well that there's not a single black man who has served on a Navy vessel who has not been chasing some interracial sexual access, and I ain't hating on you for it. I'm just saying let's just call it for what it is, though. Don't say that's not what's going down. The Army? If you're in the Army barracks, are you kidding me? The Army barracks? Please. Every nigga in the Army barracks is trying to be Justin Slayer or Lex Steele. Damn. What y'all talking about? Please. That's all they do at the Army barracks. That's all they do. All day. Come on now. Let's not act like it ain't like that. Come on. You know full well he get his shot at some of them barracks where the little all-American girls are at. Dude, he's trying to integrate the whole damn building. He's trying to single-handedly integrate the whole damn building. You know that. Fellas, if your chick has served in the military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, hey, nigga, don't ask the body count. It is what it is, okay? Don't let nobody play with you. It is what it is. When them chicks get on them boats, when they get in them barracks, when they go on a tour overseas, it is what it is. Fellas, if your chick has been to Iraq, she done Iran. What? Come on now. That's all I'm saying. If she been to Yemen, then she was yelling. Stop telling people otherwise. That ain't what it is. That's not what it is. And especially like the white dudes. Oh, if it's a white girl in the military, oh, you ain't even got to ask. The military, come on now. Every second white girl who goes in the military coming out with a biracial baby. Every second white girl who goes into the military is coming out with a biracial baby. You know why? Because all the drill sergeants are black men.
And deal with it, nigga.
All the white girls are coming out with a interracial baby because all the drill sergeants are black. Either black men or black women. But the drill sergeants are black. Those are the people they spend the most time with when they are first brought in the military. Those are the ones they spend the most time with. So even if I don't give a damn if she's from the backwoods of Alabama, she gonna spend most of her time with a black male telling her what time to get up and what time to go to bed. Or a black female doing the same. That's it. Ain't no need to talk about it. So yes, I mean, when they get in the military, that's it. That's it. It's like, hey, they like, brother, black first, nah, black last. I might not come back. The way some of these missions go, sometimes they don't. But I'm just saying their perspective on this is different. Their priority is not blackness. The military just blinds you from all that. I mean, they make a conscious effort to tell you that you shouldn't even be thinking about anything else. So it takes a lot of work to stay focused on that. They really don't start getting their heads recalibrated until after they leave. They really don't get their heads recalibrated until after they leave. Let me get caller from area code 626. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller from area code 626. Last try. You're on live.
Yeah, this is Tony from Los Angeles.
All right, Tony from Los Angeles. What's on your mind?
And I was in the military for 4 years, and that was way back from 1979 to 83, and even though I was in the Navy, and even though I didn't, my job was electrician mate, and even though I didn't, my job didn't require me to fire any cannons or guns or anything like that, but I disagree with that one guy saying this. I agree with you saying everybody that goes in the military, they turn you into a part of a killing machine because Because I said, when I was on that ship, I said, I made sure the equipment was good and everything, because if we were fired upon, I want to make sure the guys that are shooting those missiles, they're going to be able to hit that. I want to make it home. That's what I'm talking about right there. And even though I wasn't the one that was shooting the gun, when we had Marines on our ship, I want to make sure when they landed, they'd be able to get there as safe as possible, because I was on the type of ship that it can be fired upon until letting the Marines off. And even though I wouldn't be killing anybody directly, but indirectly, everybody from being an electrician, whether you were a whole technician, even the cooks, I want to make sure that everybody was fed well. So when those people that went out there with the guns, that they'd be able to make it back safely.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing right there, is it inculcates you, it indoctrinates you. Being in the military is not like any other job out there. There is no other job that is able to dictate to you how you live your life. You have the option. When you go to work in the civilian world, you got the option of getting up this morning. In the military, that's not an option. That's an order. In the civilian world, you can quit your job and say, this is my last day, and leave. You cannot do that in the military. That's not an option. So what I'm saying is and it can't be an option, because the military could not function under those circumstances. If the military ran like Circle K, it simply couldn't function. That's the other reason why militaries are always so damn expensive. It takes a lot of money and a lot of funding to be able to keep humans incentivized, even under the worst of circumstances. Militaries are always going to be hideously expensive. By definition, they must be. They're always going to run under a different set of rules. By definition, they must. And they're going to have a extremely different effect on people, a profoundly different effect on them than literally any other quote unquote occupation that you could go into. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 617. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Shell from.
Okay, your phone's going out on you. First of all, you need to turn off your speakers. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Shell from Boston.
All right, Shell from Boston. What's on your mind?
I kind of disagree with some of these guys calling about the military. My father was a Master Chief Petty Officer. He was in Vietnam and Korea, and he was on a submarine for he spent like over 40 years in the military, and they indoctrinated him. I mean, as soon as he got out, he left my mother and met a blonde barfly. So, he spent his whole life, the way that they're treated in there as an African American is totally different.
Well, here's the thing.
They didn't have his back.
Think about this for a few moments. I cannot train you to kill people or to be prepared to. I can't train you to be okay with killing people if you see people differently. You can't do that. You would be incapable of doing your job if you did. You see, friendly fire, they call it friendly fire today, but it's they used to name them as collateral damage. A military cannot operate without that. For those of you who may have seen the movie Gladiator, there's the big fight scene that they have at the beginning of the movie with Maximus, where they're fighting the Huns in the forest. And when you listen to the director's DVD commentary, the point that they make is that, by the way, this is the way it was in those environments. If you're fighting folk in the mud in the forest and it's raining or whatever like that, they would be so covered in mud and everything else like that, you couldn't even make out what the uniform was of the person next to you. Are you next to friend or foe? Friendly fire has always been an issue in militaries. They've also they don't court-martial you for that. Not unless it's egregious. They don't. You know why? Because by definition, you could not function. If shooting somebody in the civilian world, a lot of folks are shell shocked for having to kill one person. I mean, you see video after video, somebody's defending their lives. They're not soldiers. They shot somebody in self-defense and they're sobbing in tears because they understand, I've become something different now. I've become a killer. It doesn't matter that my life was on the line. I've become something I never wanted to be. I've taken another person's life, even if he had it coming. I've taken another person's life. So what I'm saying is, for the most part, you would lose the ability to function with police officers. If shooting somebody is the end of your police career, your police departments could not function. So by definition, the military, whether they tell you this or not, by definition, it's going to have to condition you to see killing as numbers on a board, not as actual substantive lives. No backstories. Don't look them in the eyes. Don't get their number. Don't get their name. We have to separate you from that. Now that I've explained that the whole military's entire purpose for existing is to desensitize you to that and separate you from that, because otherwise you could not function as a soldier. A soldier can't function if he's putting the regards of other people's lives first. He can't function. What the hell do you think? Slow down. What the hell do you think we're gonna? What the hell do you think when I make that how you regard people you don't know? You think that's not gonna have an effect on the people you do know and how you see them now?
Very abusive. Yep. And the other thing is, it was very segregated. The way that they treat. I have brothers that were in the military and uncles and stuff, and the way that they treat them compared to other military men of different ethnic backgrounds is 100% different. So, these guys that are talking about going out on disability, and that's one thing. I mean, but they don't condition them to come out to do anything for the group, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, even in retirement, you're expected to still be that's your family now. Even in retirement, they're like, the military. Here's the thing. The military supersedes your genetic family. I mean, want to talk about the mafia? Let's stop bull jiving here, folks. The military is like the mafia. If your sergeant or if your commanding officer calls you at 2 a.m. and says, get up and come to the base right now, you got 30 minutes, depending on where you live. You have 15 to 30 minutes to be standing in front of him. When he calls you, don't give a damn where your mama at. Don't give a damn where your kid's at. Your kid's at the hospital on an IV machine. Pat him on the head. We need you here in the next 15 minutes. But my daughter, but sorry to hear that. Now, click. We're not arguing. And if you don't, AWOL.
That's right. And the thing is as a Master Chief Petty Officer, he was basically on call 24/7, and if he made one mistake, it was always the threat of you're going to get thrown out. Where other people were able to make a million mistakes, so it was almost like constantly watching his back. He used to say that he was hung over balconies in the middle of the ocean. I mean,
yeah, I mean, how do you folk when you are under that type? The point she's making is when you are under that type of extreme scrutiny and chronic pressure all the time, how you gonna remember what being black is? Especially when you're in a captive situation. It's not like you can say, yeah, these folks are on some bull jive, let me leave. That's not an option.
Well, he hated them, but of course he was, desensitized.
Yeah, but by then it's too late. The damage is done. Because now it would be different if he was with his family when all this happened, but he was away from y'all. So basically he had to reconcile those experiences and everything else in himself, of himself, by himself. By the time he comes back to you all, he's a different person. He's not the one who left here the last 2 or 3 times.
Oh, we'd see him every 11 months, and with 11 kids, it was like he'd come home and then he'd be back at sea for another 11 months, and my mother would just have another baby.
And every
we
time,
really
yeah,
didn't
but
get a
every
chance
time
to
he
know him.
comes back, he's a different person.
Oh, 100%.
There's the real killing part of it. Now, here's the thing. Every time he comes back, he's a different person, but he's still a soldier. Now, that
That's
part
right.
didn't change. And as far as the military is
That's right.
concerned, that's the cost of having individuals to defend the nation. That's the cost you pay.
Yep.
Your family is secondary to the mission of whichever branch of service you're in. Your family is secondary.
He always said that.
Now, no, everybody tries to pretty it up. The military is not here to take care of your family. The military is here to have bodies to throw at a foreign invader, even if we are going to be the foreign invaders. But that's its purpose, not to take care of your family. That's a perk. And if you survive that situation over there, okay, great. But the bottom line is, yeah, your family comes second to everything we want. They're second.
Yeah, most of them come out with alcoholism, PTSD. I mean, they do come out with serious issues.
Oh,
These
worse
other
than
guys
those.
that are going on disabilities.
I think you can treat drug addiction. How do you treat sexual impropriety? How do you treat that?
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, if I put you in a situation here, and I'm just saying, there are psychological barriers that get crossed and broken for male and female, by the way. If you are a female and you got run through by all 50 niggas on the damn boat, okay, and the chick you sitting next to, the both of you done got ran through by all the petty officers and the not so petty officers and the unpetty officers. You got run through by everybody on the damn boat, and all you gals got that story to tell, and all of y'all trying to zip your lips and be quiet. Remember, this causes extreme psychological schism, because the problem, and Freud, did a wonderful job dealing with that. The problem with lying is that lying creates a conflict in the mind. You cannot survive if you tell yourself there's not a lion behind that tree, and there actually is one. You can't survive if you are in denial of an obvious reality that you know to be the truth. You can't survive. So that's why lying creates so many problems and conflicts for us, because you're actually defying the most important mechanism that you need for survival, accepting the truth that's in front of you. Well, if you got run through by the whole damn ship and you got to act like it didn't, that creates a fundamental conflict within you. And the deeper it went, the worse it was, the more you got to fight with that. A female can't get laid on top of by 24 dudes and it doesn't change her in a manner that makes her unfit to mate to one man. She's literally had to mate to all these other people. Now you gonna take her ass out of Fort Hood and make a wife out of it? You're gonna do that? Yeah. After she's had those psychological lines not run over, but completely trampled. She's a different person now. Now, what she was able to do, she was certainly able to serve her branch of the military well. She served them very faithfully, because at the end of the day, the military don't care how many dudes you done jumped on top of, so long as you can perform your duties to them when they come calling. They really don't give a whole bunch of, unless it gets in the way of what they want. They don't care what you do in your own time, as long as it doesn't get in the way of what they want. So you end up burying these things. And what I'm saying is that, sexually speaking, that's why I've warned y'all for decades now. I cannot endorse a woman fooling with a dude who's been in the military. I can't, because I know what they do. We all know what they do.
I felt that.
No hate on you fellas, but y'all, the ones who've been in the military, you know damn well what y'all do on them ships, what you do in them barracks, what you do in them tents. Y'all know what it is. Y'all got the bars that you go to and stuff. That's why no officer's wife in the military is safe. I would say right now, half of them, their wives done cheated on them. At least half, and I'm probably being very, very charitable tonight. At least half. These are the real career guys, the officer career guys.
They always wanted my mother every time she went to the base for functions. They were all over her. They tried to. And she it was very
no
hard
respect.
to fight them off.
No respect. They don't give a damn who your husband is. Nope. You're meat. You are meat, and this is what we do. And I can understand, on the one hand, it's a stress reliever, and it's trying to unplug from all this constant tension of life and death. So now you've got this constant sexual tension. And I understand that. But what I'm saying is that's not natural. That's not a healthy way for human beings to exist. Hell, it's not a healthy way for animals to exist. That's not a healthy way for pets to exist. So I can't put you in that environment where you've engaged in that kind of sexual activity for years and think that your attitude toward the woman sitting next to you will not be radically different from what it was before you went off into that place.
Yep, 100%.
I can get you off of alcohol.
You know,
Hell, I can send you to a place where there is no alcohol. I can't send you and your wife someplace where she's no longer your wife. I can't do that.
Yeah, but I mean, getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, hearing all hands on deck, you know, having to scrub bathroom floors with a toothbrush. I mean, they certainly broke him down. I mean, it's a very, I mean, they take away your individuality 100%.
And that's why I say, you know, even under the best of intentions here, I could endorse it a lot better if I saw a more, you know, structured culture, if you will. Like the black folk who go in. Yep. First of all, you got the military trying to keep you from gaining any real rank. That's the first problem. The military wants the black folk to stay at the lower ranks. They want the white men to lead the military. They want the black folks to be at the lower ranks. So that's your first problem. If you had a situation where the black folk in the military were as, for lack of a better term, I'll just say nurturing of the black folk who come in like the white ones are, the white kids, then I would see it differently. The military serves white society well because, you know, the guys who are in charge are looking out for the best interests of those white kids. That's not what they're doing for the black ones. Not at all.
That's right. They break them.
They don't give a damn what happens at your house.
Yep.
They don't care what happens to your house, your wife, your kids, whatever. Nah, screw y'all. Did he come back to work Monday? All right, good.
100%. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Aurelius X, why don't you go ahead and give me a call? Aurelius X, since you have a question there, I don't understand why you'd be asking a question, sir. The telephone number is on your screen there. So you're more than welcome to give me a call about that. I'll be glad to answer your questions. It's not just a nifty suggestion. I'm afraid I need him to go ahead and give me a call. He's asking a question there. I would like to go ahead and address his questions. Now. Let's see what the man has to say here. If he's actually willing to go ahead and follow up on that, then I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's not have too much doubt, though. Calling from area code 301. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is James, man. I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia right now.
All right, James in Atlanta, Georgia. What's on your mind?
Man, I just wanted to tell you, man, you're telling the truth. You know, I was in the military. The only difference is that I was in the Navy. So you start talking about hand-to-hand combat, you're talking about more of the SEALs or something of that nature. But when you're on the ship, you know, most of your battle groups, they sit out in the water. And, you know, they launch rockets, and the aircraft carrier launches the ships, the planes and everything, you know, over the land and stuff. But what you're talking about as far as how they try to break you, I was one of those guys that went in and would refuse to be broken. And when you refuse to be broken, you go through a lot of trauma in that place. They do all kind of things to you. They try to take your ranks from you. It's a place that is just, if you're a strong-willed black person, and I was young. I'm 59 now. I went in when I was 19 or 18, getting ready to be 19. And these brothers talking about, their pensions and all these things. Okay, that's fine. That's cool. That's okay. That's what's up. But if you notice that most of them talk about they got their pension, but they also got a job. And they focus on those types of things that, don't get me wrong, those things can elevate your life. However, that whole environment teaches you to be subservient to the people that are above you. When I went in, it was in 1983. I got out in 1989. So when you talk about the women being on the ships and stuff, when I was in, women weren't on the ship with men.
Yeah, that wasn't until the Clinton administration.
That were, say that again?
That wasn't until the Clinton administration.
Yeah, no, that was before Clinton. So you had the men. There was only ships that they call them destroyer tenders. That was the only ships that had men and women on it at that time. So all the other ships were strictly men.
Okay, because I didn't think we had any. I didn't think we had. I thought we only changed that after when he got in and what they did at West Point and whatnot. I thought that was until then. You're saying that they had co-ed ships even back in the 80s?
Yeah, they was called destroyer tenders, and then the destroyer ships are the ships that would usually be out in the front of the battle group because they got high power weapons and stuff. But they had a ship that would go beside them or behind them that had men and women on it.
Okay,
they were in my battle group.
Okay, for the aircraft carriers, do we have co-ed before the 90s on the aircraft carriers?
No.
Okay, I know we didn't have it on the aircraft carriers. I know we didn't. Now it's a whorehouse.
The only
but anyway,
ship,
now the destroyer. Now you talk about the destroyers. Yeah, I mean, y'all just for my edification, because I like to make sure I kind of keep these things straight. There are several types of destroyers, which is why he's being specific. He's not just naming one. He's actually naming. Yeah. He's doing. I thank you for that because this is inside baseball, and I don't want to lose a bunch of people. And then if they're not military, they don't give a damn anyway. But this is Jason trying to make sure I'm clear about that because he's talking about more than one kind. When you say destroyer, I'm like, I right. know that there were some that were not co-ed, but you're saying that there were some that were before Clinton.
No, not saying that the destroyer ship was. They called them destroyer tenders. It was like I guess a ship that almost like a covert kind of hospital type.
Okay.
A ship that would sit back.
Right.
They, whatever the destroyer tender needed, they would give that destroyer tender whatever they needed.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. But as far as the ships that actually do the real work, and I know they hate when we say that because they all work. I get it. Don't get upset out there, ladies. But I'm just saying. So we're talking about destroyers and the battleships and things like that. I didn't think we made those co-ed until Clinton. Now, as far as support ships, medical ships, things like that, that's a little bit different. But I'm talking about the ones that would actually be shooting at people. Unless I'm wrong, I don't think we did.
None of them was co-ed.
Yeah, I don't think we did that until Clinton. So he is correct. You had certain ships that would have males and females on them. But as far as ships that would be gone out to sea or gone for extended periods of time, I don't think we did that part until Clinton. So that's going to be a major cultural change, especially when you get there.
No. They did it because my first Westpac that I went on, I can't remember the name of this ship. It was one of the destroyer attempts because the first ship I went out on, I was on a supply ship, USS Sacramento. I was on a supply ship. So our ship would always stay back with the battle group, and we would always give supplies to the different ships that was around us. We had the USS Missouri that was with us that we supplied, and I can't remember the name of this destroyer tender, but it had women on it. It had women on it because you could see them. I got pictures. You can see them because when you're out there in the water for 90 days, you see a woman, you're like, oh Lord,
Well, yeah, definitely. For the most part, though, like I say, for the most part, they were not really. They didn't have to really serve with them like that till we get to the 90s. I'm not dispelling what you're saying about the 80s. Once we get to the 90s, it's they took the ripcord out of it. And I think that changes a lot.
Yeah, you're exactly right
that
on that.
changes the environment that you're in radically when that occurs, because now you've gone from being typical sailors but seeing a woman was like seeing a mermaid, am I seeing a mirage, to having daily access. Now you got daily access to them across the board. No matter where you are, you got access to them. In the chat room, somebody was talking about because of a navigational superstition about having women on board. Let's be clear, Nightfall, that wasn't the reason that we kept women off of ships. We have always kept women off of ships because, historically speaking, you can.
They're gonna come up pregnant.
If you got number one, if she comes up pregnant, now we got an extra mouth to feed, and we're a million miles away from anywhere. So, however many supplies that you calculated you need, now you need more. But even more so, it relieves the men of something to fight over, because you take men off somewhere and whatnot and you train them to fight. You don't need to give them things to fight over. You don't need to give them women. You don't need to give them liquor. You don't need to give them drugs. You don't need to give them something they can fight and argue over. I'm not even going to go into sexual assault because I don't think that's the biggest issue. I think the biggest issue on any boat is two dudes got their eyes on the same chick and she's like, I don't know which one of y'all I'm going to choose. Well,
right.
Now it may be able to resolve this civilized, and again, it might be like the Mac. Hey, nigga, your broad chose me. Now we can settle this real civilite, or we can get into some gangster stuff. And next thing you know, here we go.
You know what was crazy? What was crazy is like when we was out on my first cruise, which was in '84. They have what they call a beer day. After you've been out to sea for 60 days, they would give you 2 beers, bro. They would give you 2 beers for you to drink and do whatever. And of course, and also don't forget this. We would have people that would be on the ship and would be drunk because they would take the grape juice and the orange juice and stuff from the galley and would take it and put it in a bottle and let it ferment, and then they would drink it.
Like prisoners.
It would be tore up on the ship.
Yeah, like prison inmates.
Yeah, like in fact.
Yeah, like they do with the orange juice and the pineapple juice and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, this is like the prison inmates. They sure do. And what they call it, rot gut, because like I say, it's not great liquor, but it smells awful.
Like throwing up.
Oh yeah, it smells awful. It's not really safe, to be totally honest. You're taking your chances. You pay your money and take your chances. Right. So, making that stuff is
Yeah, but man, it's a terrible environment, man. I got out, because I just couldn't. It's just an environment for me. I mean, if you got these brothers over here talking about, oh yeah, it's a great thing. Okay, fine, that's what's up. I got some of my friends that stayed in for 20 plus years. One of my brothers stayed in for 30 years. I mean, he came out. He was married to a black woman. He got divorced. Now he's married, or not married, but he's kicking it with a Hispanic woman, and it's just something different, bro. And for me, I just, I'm a black woman's black man, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just bro. For whatever it is, and I'm not down in the military for that. I'm down it for a lot of other things. But what I'm saying is, it's not an incubator of black consciousness. It's the other thing. It demands so much of your time and commitment, and the military is actually offensive to that idea. I don't think you can get promoted. Yeah. I don't see how you are pro-black and get promoted in this military. I don't see how it happens. Exactly. And what I'm saying is everybody would be against you, including the black superiors, because they'd be like, oh, you don't see yourself as a soldier first. You see yourself as a black person first. And therefore, how do the rest of the people in the battalion trust you when you do not see yourself as a part of our family first? You see yourself as a part of another one first.
Not just that, brother, because those guys that are focused on getting promoted in their ranks and stuff, they have to adhere to whatever their white superiors say, because they want, in order to get promoted like that, you have to have 4.0 or 3.8 or 3.5 and up evaluations.
Right.
You have to be kissing some serious ass Can I say that?
Yeah, I mean, you
I'm
have
sorry.
to. I mean, it doesn't work. I mean, and for the white boys, it's a system that's set up. All they got to do is check their boxes so we can go ahead and promote you. For the black folk, they actually look at what you do, and they're looking for ways to hold you back. For the white kids, they're looking for ways to bring them up.
Let me tell you this, brother. Let me tell you how they tried to hold me back. I was going up for my E4 to E5 test. I went out and I had not that I should have did it, whatever. I had a hole put in my ear, right? Didn't have no earring in my ear, but I took the earring out and put a little piece of straw in there, right? How about when I went to muster that morning, my senior chief that was so against me because I just wasn't with the shenanigans. So he kept me from taking the E5 test because I had a piece of straw that was in the hole in my ear. That's how racist it is. And the brother that was talking about that he was able to buy a house with zero down, you cannot buy a house with zero down. I just moved from another state to Georgia a year and a half ago. And when I bought my house, I had to put they call it if he's on disability, that's different. If he's on disability, then he doesn't have to put this money down. I'm not on disability. So I had to put almost $30,000 down on my house.
Yeah, sounds about right. Like I said, I mean, there are benefits involved.
I don't know what he's talking about.
I mean, there are benefits involved, certainly, but for me, at the end of the day, if going into the military comes at the cost of your identity and your soul, I'm like, I don't know. That's just another reason why I would caution a young person. I'm not going to tell them don't necessarily, but I would caution them because I want to know what their life goals are. Now, if they just want to be the best Xbox player, be the best soldier they can be, hey, have at it. This is the place for you. If you're trying to preserve, black consciousness and identity, and hey, the military is a means for that, just understand you're dealing with a multi-trillion-dollar apparatus that is specifically designed to prevent what you're discussing from occurring. And I just don't see how you become an effective pro-black person in an organization that every morning is waking you up to remind you not to do that. This is a fundamental conflict, and one of you got to go.
Yes.
One of you's going to have to go, and we know the military ain't going to be the one going.
Exactly. And to point to exactly what you're saying, my daughters, because I have two daughters, when they got to the age of with my first one, when she graduated high school, of course the military was calling, the Army did it. Brother, I picked up the phone because I had been out a long time. I picked up the phone, and when they told me, I'm calling for your daughter and blah, 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 I said, listen, my children will not be going into your military. Don't you ever call my house again. That's how much I was against the military. And I still have my VA benefits as far as being able to buy a house and all the rest of that. That brother's he's talking some other stuff that he retired and, then again.
I mean, if it worked for him, I'm just saying, if it worked for him, that's great. Yeah, I mean, if it worked for him, that's great. My issue was every time he spoke, he was talking about the financial benefits he was getting, the financial benefits. They made it easier for this, that, and the other. I'm like, I'm not debating that. I'm not disputing the financial benefits. If you're saying this is what black folk need, what good does it do us to have a bunch of black folk come out of the military with sterling financial benefits and zero concern about black folk as a group? Because after 20 years of indoctrination, they now see it as us versus them.
Yep. And talking about your pension and the job you still have. I'm 59 years old. I've been retired for 2 years. Came down here and bought a house that's well over $500,000 on 6 acres and 6,000 square feet in Atlanta, Georgia, or outside of Atlanta, Georgia, excuse me. Yeah. So he can talk all that stuff he's talking, but guess what? He's still working. I've been retired for almost 2 years now. I get up when I want to, and I lay down when I want to.
Well, in his case, I think he may be still working if he chooses to, which I think is great and wonderful and everything. Even with everything being paid for free and clear, and now you got your time to do it, because most military folk keep working because y'all can't sit still after they finish messing y'all's messing up your ability to have peace of mind. No, I mean, I'm serious. No, the military, can I just say the military drives people crazy. Like, you all can't sit, especially if you got somebody who's been in the military for 10 years, that nigga can't sit still. He stands on his feet all the time. Yeah. He's up at 5 in the damn morning until whenever in the evening. You know, he ain't no regular dude. He don't do regular stuff. His life is very structured. It's very structured. It's very by the numbers. If he leaves, it's like, that's why I made it akin to being prison inmates. We see this exact same pathology among guys when they're released from prison after a 10-year bid. They're very structured. You know, they can't shake it. And the military turns you into a different type of person. Look, the United States military is not drawing upon 248 years of training. The United States military is drawing upon the last 10,000 years of military training.
Yep.
They're going all the way back to the Phoenicians and the Peloponnesians and the Nubians. They go all the way back of how do you create a soldier whose interests who puts the interests of the state ahead of the interests of himself. Yeah. That's what it does. So the psychological part of dealing with the military is far more crushing and pressing than any of the physical part. The physical part is just another tool that it uses to impress the psychological thing. You can be the best soldier they got if you got one arm. As long as you have total allegiance to what they want. Why do you think you have specialized groups like JSOC, you know, the SEALs, the Rangers? We can go down the list. What are those about? Those are guys who they're from the moment they get up in the morning, that's all they think about is how I can be the best soldier I can be. From the moment they get up to the moment, they are proud of the fact that their military service supersedes everything else, including family, friends, religion. They are proud of that. And I'm not going to say that there isn't a place in this world for that. I'm not saying that there isn't. What I'm saying is understand that comes at a cost. I'll let you have the last word.
But then they have to understand this. Once you get out, then what you gonna do? Is your mind still gonna be that? And the couple other discrepancies I have with that, the other brother talking about he's getting $4,800 a month. How does $4,800 a month turn into 80,000?
I think what he was saying was that 80,000 in gross benefits. So that's what he's saying about. So if the military is like paying on a house or something like that, or whatever the case may be, I think he's just adding up everything all together.
My wife's father is at 100%, and he only gets $4,200 a month because of another extenuating circumstances that he dealt with the military. So I don't know, 4,800, that's above what you usually get. It's 3,800 most of the time.
Well, definitely, like I say, I mean, my issue with it there is like he can be private service. I think what he's saying, I am not dismissing it out of hand. I'm just saying it's an uphill fight for that one to particularly work the way he's saying. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 406. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello.
Last try, area code 406. You're on live.
Hello.
Nigga,
Hello.
You're on.
Hello. Hello.
Okay, y'all. It's Friday night. Yeah, he was like, oh, hey, y'all talking some good stuff over there. Let me see what's going on. Yeah, I'm discharged. My name is Ray. I'm discharged. Yes, my name is Ray. I'm discharged. Yeah, what is y'all doing? Hello? Hold on, man. Let me take this hearing aid out over here. Let me see what's going on there, man. All right. Yeah. What are they talking about? Call from area code 507. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, my name is Kevin. I'm from St. Cloud, Minnesota.
All right, Kevin from St. Cloud. What's on your mind?
I don't got too much time to talk today. I just wanted to ask, are you still doing one-on-one calls in Patreon, private calls?
Sure, if you signed up for Patreon, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Caller from area code 406. Dude, what do you want?
Hello?
What do you want, brother? Why are you calling up playing on my phone tonight? What are you doing? Are you drunk? Are you high? Is this Mr. Skinny Jeans from South Florida? Well, what is it, dude?
Probably one of those.
Okay. Well, here's what I need you to do. I need you to call, go back to, Alcoholics Anonymous and get them to dry you out. Call from area code 770. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay. Caller from 770 is involved in Mortal Kombat with his phone.
Jason, can you hear me?
Okay, brother.
Jason,
it sounds like you calling me from the future.
Yeah, hey, Jason, can you hear me now, though?
Yes, brother. What's your name? Where you calling from?
All right, look, man. I understand. I hear what.
What is your name?
My name is Tony.
Hello, Tony.
From Houston, Texas.
Tony from Houston.
How are you,
Okay, this
sir?
is a different Tony from Houston. Yeah. All right, Tony, what's on your mind?
Yes, it is a different stuff. Hey, you know what? I agree with some of the points that some of these guys are making in regard to people in the military, but not all. I feel like there's a generalization being made. I mean, not all people. I was one of those pro-black people in the military, and I remember just one thing. We have these EO things, and they were saying like the Nation of Islam was a terrorist faction, but I was one of those people who spoke up and it's like, how can you be a terrorist faction when you never killed anybody? Everybody doesn't fit that narrative that a lot of people are saying. You know, I did 26 years. My life is comfortable, but I never sold out.
Oh, no. I mean, I agree with you, brother, but do you also acknowledge that you are the exception and not the rule?
That's true. Now, we do have those people that go against that, what we're talking about. Now, that is true. We have those people in every
right, but as a rule, this is what the military does to people as a rule, not as an exception. You're more likely to go in pro-black and come out not than you are just neutral.
I've seen that, and that is a true.
I've never seen anybody who wasn't pro-black went in the military and came out and who was. I've seen a bunch who were and came out and were just people and all neutral. I ain't never met nobody who wasn't and then came out and they were pro-black. So the military is a place that is contrary to that kind of thing. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, it can be. It depends on, how strong you are as a person and, how you were raised. And maybe sometimes it can either be construed as self-hate. But I've never been one of those people. And, you got some of these guys that are calling in, man. These people are like, I think they're like posers. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't. I mean, everybody. Some people go through trouble in their military career, but in my experience, those are people who just weren't made for the military.
Well, that's my point. But brother, do you understand? Nobody is made for the military.
Yeah, it was a little different for me being from inner city Houston, then going into some situation like that. But
yeah, I mean, but brother, there's nobody who gets. There was never a child born who methodically got up, went to learn machining so they could make weapons and then take the weapons that they made and I'm going to take these weapons and blow up and burn down and kill as many people as humanly possible. Yeah, that's not a natural state. Self-defense is a natural state. What militaries do is not natural.
Yeah, and like you were saying, Jason, to one of your points, you are right. Your first job in being in the military, you learn to be a killer. Yes, you go to combat. You go to you learn how to shoot your weapon. That's everybody. So that guy who was saying that, the majority of military are not killers. They're combat support. But your first when you go into the military, you learn.
Everybody is trained to do it.
That is your first
That was the point I was making. Everybody's trained to do it. You might not be in combat or infantry,
right.
but everybody who walks through that door is going to take some training to learn how to kill.
It's called BRM, Basic Rifle Marksmanship. You learn how to use bayonet, throw hand grenades. That is your first job before you even go to your military occupational specialty. You are a killer first. So that guy knows what he's talking about.
But you know what? Let me bring you another part of that there. There's something more important than that. Let me explain to you the part that's more important than that. You think about this with gang members. The most dangerous point for a gang member is not when he picks up a weapon. The most dangerous point is when he is okay with what they're asking him to do.
Yeah, that's true.
And the military, the most dangerous part there is once I've got you in this place, even if you never shoot a gun ever again for the rest of your life, I have got you okay with the idea that if you had to, you'll kill 10 or 12 people and you will move on with your life. But when I've got you psychologically prepared to do that, I got you.
You know, a lot of people do it, man. You know, they sign up for that. And I'm not saying it's right. Some people struggle with it, even today. Young kids getting deployed 5 and 6 times, you know, killing people. That's their job. And, you know, I can't speak for them, but I can empathize with them and say, like, man, it would probably be difficult, you know, to deal with. That's not.
I have yet, brother. I have yet to find a human being who has killed somebody that it did not take a toll. It didn't take a toll on them. It does. There are just some folk who they seem unfazed. They either come out one of two ways. They've buried it, which is what usually happens, PTSD. They've tried to bury what they've done so that they can reassimilate in a world where you don't do that kind of thing. In the military, killing folk is a positive. In the civilian world, which is where you're going to spend the rest of your life, is an absolute negative. So now you're having to bury this. That's the first option that happens. Or the second one, which is you're just this killer walking around out here, and at any time, things could flip another direction.
Might snap. Yeah. Hey,
and that's basically what you
do. Though. You know what? The most people that are combat support, some people develop, you know, PTSD from the residuals of war, like hearing like a 60 seconds, like it intercepts indirect fire, you know, and you know, like mortars coming in, and you hear this constantly. You have to sleep through this after your shift, like it's a normal thing. Some people have trouble adapting through that.
Oh, I think most people do.
Like.
Brother, I don't think it's some. Yeah. I think it's going to be like agent. Remember, we used to call in the military. They used to call it soldier's ear or soldier's. I forget what it is. Soldier's shake or soldier's ear. I forget the word for it. But and then they called it shell shocked. And it wasn't until remember that was the original word for it, was shell shocked. Yeah. We didn't really give it a medical psychological designation until we get to PTSD. So understand, even in the 20th century, it was at the tail end of the 20th century in the 90s before we actually accept post-traumatic stress disorder as a real thing that really affects people. But here's the thing I think that eventually they're going to have to accept. That thing you just talked about. Once again, that's unnatural. Remember, we're the result of technically 60 million years, but certainly 160,000 years of evolution. The reason that you survive is the reptile part of your brain is constantly on watch for threats. So even when you are quote unquote asleep does not mean dead, and it doesn't mean that you're not perceptive. You're now in a state where the body is recuperating itself. All those noises that you're hearing, the body is taking them in. Those rounds, it's taking them in. The sound of them going overhead, that noise, it's taking those in. And it is unnatural to disregard that because you know that that's a threat to your life. And the problem is if you're in barracks or a tent, you hear them, but you have no perception of how close they are to you. So the only thing they can do is scare the hell out of you because you don't know if it's incoming close or if it's not. So this is constantly putting you in a constant hyper state of stress and attentiveness that's not natural.
You call it like not being able to stand down. You know, it puts you have triggers.
Correct.
You know, like dogs barking, like, what's that? You know, things like that. But now, not to change the subject, but one guy was talking about a VA benefit. Like, you know what, man? Disability is not that easy to get, Jason.
It's been easy. You know, I've seen a bunch of folks. It was too damn easy for them to get that. So I ain't gonna say no names. I gotta disagree. It was too damn easy for them.
Okay, Jason. So let me put that in context. I'll say at 100%.
Okay.
100%. Like the gentleman was saying, 100% disability does change. Will change your life.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
In regard to your resources, I'm a Texan. I joined the Army in Texas, you know, and they afford me a lot of resources. My kids are educated free, you know. Well, I earned it. I wouldn't say free. I just used my benefit. I circumvent medical for my family, property taxes, even tolls on the road in Houston. That stuff adds up.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, you got a point about it because the folks I'm talking about
Sometimes
left earlier and stuff, so no, they didn't get the same thing there. So that distinction does matter in that regard. My thing is they shouldn't have got nothing, in my opinion. But
got you. Like, you know what? And you do have people, man, they're swinging the system. There's nothing. They got a paper cut, and they're at the VA trying to get disability.
And the damn doctor's trying to guide them through it. I mean, I'm just saying stuff like that. It's like, come on, man, come on. But that's why you laughing. You laughing because you know I'm telling the truth. The damn doctors be helping half of them. Say this and don't say that.
You know what, though, man? Most people who got 100% though, Jason, they have to sue for it.
Well,
they have to get, because the VA ain't handing out. I'm telling you, Jason, I'm for real, man. It's adversarial.
Okay,
man.
well,
It's like
okay. No. There's one thing to say sue for it. Now, when you say sue, though, can you explain to them exactly what you mean by sue?
Sure. Let me give the context, because sometimes subject matter experts in regard to medical conditions, secondary conditions, like I might have PTSD, but I might have migraines from it. But they're trying to group it all as one. You know?
Right, but what I'm saying is the court that's going to hear that. When you say sue.
Yeah, well, your coin are your raiders. They're your raiders. They're military raiders. They have like adversarial. It's like going to court.
Right, but I'm saying it's not like hiring Morris Barton, Morgan and Morgan. It's not like that.
Well, you know, kind of, sort of, man. If you hire a dude who don't know what he's doing, you're going to keep getting turned down. A nexus letter is everything. You know, a nexus letter is like, is it medical? First of all, is it service connected? You know, how's it affecting your life? How's it making your life more adverse? It's adversarial, man, and it's not. They might give you hearing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not like you know, you got in a car accident and we're going to superior court or federal court. It's not
right,
that kind of situation.
That thing you're proving negligence. What you're doing, you're proving
right. What I'm saying, it's a military process. In the chat room, Elevation said a challenge. I mean, it's a military process. As opposed to, you know, what we in the civilian world would consider to be a lawsuit. It's different than that.
Right, there you go.
So the reason why I made that distinction is because it doesn't cost you the same thing it would. You get more resources and whatnot to be able to do that. You actually kind of get help fighting it. So I mean, you got whole advocates. That's the word I was looking for. You got whole advocates for that kind of thing. So even if you want to challenge for your disability, you get help doing that. Try that in the civilian world. See how much help you get with that.
Yeah, well, you know what, man? You know what? It's a choice. You know, nobody broke my arm to go in there.
Well, I mean,
I have my share of problems. Do you know, Jason? I know. Okay, I'm not gonna try to condescend you, but you know what conscription is, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I don't think that would be a bad idea for the United States of America.
Okay, he was doing real good for a little bit there, y'all. Elevation, you nailed it, brother. He was doing good for a little bit. Talk to him long enough, and here we go.
But I knew you was gonna say that. But I'm just saying my personal view. Okay, I'm just saying. You know what? It can be like in a social. It can be in a social capacity. like in Korea, it's not all military. You just have to do service to your country.
Okay,
you know
now
what I'm saying?
you say like in Korea. Now we talking about North Korea or South Korea?
No, come on, man. Shit, Korea, Israel, even Thailand, they have mandatory. Germany. But if you're not, some of these people, the youth we have today, man, they can't even pass a physical fitness test. Man, these dudes are fat, overweight, already suffering from some kind of ADD, all that. But you don't have to put a military uniform on. You can do social services, work with indigent people. You know what I'm saying? They do that in other countries.
Sure,
Some
but you do recognize the difference there. All right, let's take a look at the places you just named there. Now, you said Thailand. Are you sure you meant...
Yeah, they got to do 2 years.
Okay, now, you're referring to Thailand or Taiwan?
No. That's mandatory. They don't... It's like you have to.
Well, I mean, but same thing in Israel. Same thing in Israel, though.
Right.
That's not optional in Israel. Okay, but let's take a look at let's take a look at the places that you named there. All right, now first of all, we'll leave Germany out of it because Germany is a bit of a special case after World War II. Let's go ahead and take a look at Korea. I'm hoping he's referring to South Korea as opposed to North Korea, because in North Korea it's not optional up there with with the little dictator.
It's not North Korea.
Yeah. So okay, let's take a look at South Korea. Okay, but they've been living beneath the 37th parallel now for 4 decades. The Korean as for those of you who don't know your history, the Korean War is not over. So basically what you had is what's called a cessation of hostilities, but the Korean War is effectively still on to this very day. Let's talk about
a ceasefire.
Yes, let's talk about Taiwan. Taiwan, when Chiang Kai-shek left the mainland and went over there, China is talking about invading them right now. So you ain't got a choice. Israel, needless to say, Israel has a flare. Israel's like the shingles. They have a flare up every few years over there. It's just here we go. So you ain't gonna get away from them. So what I'm saying is that I see the points that you're making, but those are special circumstances because those are people who are in a continued state of hostilities. The special thing about North America, it really, really was a very special thing because it wasn't like Greenland or Iceland or something like that where you had something that was far with at least some distance away from Europe. It wasn't just, walk across the street to get there. North America was a long way away, has a very good climate, it has all 4 seasons as opposed to some places that only get 1, ice. You've got, the soil has always been good for growing things. I'm going to do that for a reason. And it's thousands of miles away from all them troublemakers over there in Europe and Asia. Beyond that, anybody who even wanted to start a fight with America is going to have to spend a whole bunch of money to get their scrap on. It's not like these other places where you could just march over the land and get there. So America's had a lot of benefits in that it's got oceans between it and literally everybody else, which is insulated it.
And we spend a shit ton of money on defense.
Well, yeah, but the places that you named where you said, hey, look at what it's done for them, those people don't have the same option. Israel is right in the middle of the Middle East. Everybody can get at them. And for the rest of them.
Jason, okay. Maybe I will, let me get my context right.
No, your context is fine. I think your context is fine. I mean, I totally get it. My only thing about that is what I'm saying is that you've got, the other thing is military's jobs are to create periods of peacetime. What happens to your population when they've experienced, if effectively, 50 years of peacetime? Because once we went from a conscription military to a, quote, volunteer military, which it actually isn't, but it is.
Man, it got fired.
Once we went from that to a volunteer military, you do have people who join the military, but it's no longer part of the nation's culture. It's a part of individuals' culture, and the society, for the most part, has been separated from it the same way that you and I are separated from medical calamities. There are doctors who go deal with that and nurses who go deal with that, but you and me don't. We see what's happening to them on TV, but we're not there with them. And it's the same thing for the military. We hear about what happens in the military on CNN. For the most part, most people today don't really have a relative who's in the military like that. It's only us older cats who have that. As time goes on, there are fewer and fewer of them. So they've got distance not just from the military, but from aggression altogether.
Yeah.
Now, how do you make a soldier out of somebody who hasn't even had a fist fight?
I feel you, man. Hey, I just want to say, man, I listen to your show every week, and I just felt a little, had my ass on my shoulders about some of these guys calling in, and coming in, and I think some of these guys are like posers. This guy, like he was talking about his GI Bill. Man, if you got the GI Bill, man, I paid $34 to move in my house. Okay, that didn't have anything to do with disability or anything. Disability is like, you know what I'm saying? It's like
it certainly adds to it. It's certainly a supplement to it, and that's fine. I don't think they're posers. I think everybody who's called me up tonight has pretty much been legit. I just think that their depiction
everybody's experience is not the same.
Yeah, I think their depiction of the scenario.
Some guys are just, some guys are just what we call duds. You know what I'm saying? They can't keep their mouth shut. I was one of those dudes. I had to learn that.
And that's going to be a problem. But here's the issue: you have the most coddled generation ever, but they're also the most outspoken. So I mean, if their coffee latte isn't the way they want it, they're complaining. So I understand what you're saying, brother, but it doesn't work that way for the most of the population today. It doesn't work that way. Should there be some changes? There's going to be changes no matter what. There's going to be changes no matter what. You can't have a population that is dog-ass soft and can survive. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Yeah, like I say, I mean, look, I understand with Gen Z. I understand, with millennials. I understand where they're at. I understand where they're at. I understand how they see things, and their experience has been radically different. If you fought for this long, remember, eventually at some point you fight for this long to pacify the world and eventually you win. But just remember, when you win, you become softer than the people who quote unquote lost. Keep that in mind. When it comes to the art of fighting, you may have won, but in the process of quote winning, you may likely become softer than the people who lost. The most precarious situation to be in is not the fighter who lost the fight. It's the fighter who won the fight and no longer has to defend his title. That's the most dangerous, precarious situation for a fighter to be in. The one who has won, and now he's no longer required to get out there and bash people over the head to keep his skills sharp and to retain that title. After that, all the people that he told himself he beat, all of them are hungry as hell. China is hungry as hell. Russia is hungry as hell. The Middle East is hungry as hell. South America is hungry as hell. Africa, hungry as hell. And everything you got, they want. With the exception of the softness. With everything you got, they want. And they're hungry as hell. And you sat back and it's like, okay, you're like Rocky 3. I'm great, I'm wonderful here, I'm unbeatable. It's a game to me. And if you sit around long enough, you might not realize how soft you got. You might not realize how soft you got. Marcus B., you said, Bane from The Dark Knight Rises. Victory has defeated you. Victory has defeated you. You get out there and whatnot, and you haven't actually had to throw no blows. You haven't actually had to throw no blows at anybody. Everything was given to you. Your parents had to fight for that daily bread. You had it given to you. Okay, you've had everything given to you except the desire and the ability to keep it. Now, that's the one thing that they have now failed to give you. They failed to give you the desire and the ability to retain that which you were given. Your parents and your grandparents were hard enough and stern enough to keep it, to hold what they took. These kids today are not. They're not. You have to understand the kids today have been taught about weapons. They've been taught to look at weapons. They've been taught to hold weapons. They've been taught to carry weapons. They got video games where they pretend to have weapons. Everything's about looking at the weapon, looking at the weapon, looking at the weapon. Those of us who are older, we have a fundamental understanding. We do not look for weapons. We understand that we are the weapon. That's the difference. We don't start from a standpoint of get me a weapon. We start from the standpoint of I am the weapon. Everything else is a supplement to what I do. Everything else is a supplement. The weapon starts with the person. Notice I didn't even say with the man. The weapon starts with the person. But Generation Skinny Jeans and Generation Thong doesn't understand that. Generation Skinny Jeans and Generation Thong does not get that. They've grown up watching TV. They've grown up with video games. Hell, even the weapons they have, they get caught more often than they don't. On account of the fact they don't even know what to do with it. It used to be you had teenagers like natural born killers. They killed 10, 12 people before you even realized it was them. The kids today, hell, there was some kid, I think in Florida or whatever, on the damn beach. Yanks out a gun because he's having a damn hoe fit. There were other kids on the beach and he wants to yank out a gun. Meanwhile, there are police patrolling the damn beach. Literally within 60 seconds of him yanking that gun out, the police were yelling at him to put the gun down. You going to jail with us. A gun is useless in the hands of a person who is unwilling to use it. And if you need a gun to be a killer, then you're not going to be much of one. If the only time that you are dangerous is with a gun in your hands, you're not dangerous. If the only time that you're a threat is when there's a gun in your hands, you're no threat. Every soldier understands this. Everybody who's been in the military understands this. Anybody who's been to prison understands this. A prison environment, first thing you got to do is be good with your hands, because you don't always have something you can get your hands on. So if you're in a prison environment and the other inmates see you soft, you weak, you're no good unless you have a weapon in your hands. They like, oh hell, he's useless. So the first thing they do is, okay, you got to do like boot camp, like the military, your push-ups, your sit-ups, get that baby fat off of you here. You have to become a weapon so that you are war ready all the time. Not sometime, you're war ready 24/7. That's what we need you to be. We need you to be that. That's what it means to be a weapon. And that's what those of us, when we grew up, they talk about rough neighborhoods. Today, a damn rough neighborhood is a place that ain't got cell phone reception. What? That's a so-called rough neighborhood today. A rough neighborhood today is a neighborhood that doesn't have Wi-Fi. Damn! That's a rough neighborhood today. We didn't have a bunch of skinny jean wearing niggas with their pants sagging. How the hell you gonna fight somebody like that? He can't fight. Hell, he can't even run. He can't fight. Forget fighting. He can't even run. There's no soldier on this earth who would imagine wearing his clothing for styling. It's certainly not some raggedy feet styling. Dude, you can't run, much less fight. Let me tell y'all one other thing too, by the way. Don't believe me. You can go and look this up for your damn self right now. Here's something that most of you never even thought of before, by the way, but that's why you have me here to think about those things. How many of y'all ever saw those videos they have of prison inmates? How many of you ever saw those videos where one of the guys fighting was sagging? Damn! How many videos have you seen of these inmates scrapping in the prison and one of them was sagging? You ain't never seen that. You see somebody's ex-prison wife walk in the streets today with his pants around his ankles. You ain't seen nothing like that. You talking about the county jail. You ain't seen nobody doing no damn years. They don't do that. Niggas doing time don't sag they pants when it's time. When it's a scrap jumped off, y'all ain't never seen a video with dudes sagging their pants and the war done jumped off. Niggas don't walk the yard. You ain't seen a video with niggas walking the yard with their pants sagging. Maybe some of them sex offenders or some of them dudes with alternative lifestyles. You ain't never seen the G's or the gangsters doing that. It don't happen. The G's, the gangsters, the white supremacists, the Aryan Nation, hell, the Pacific Islanders. I'm talking about the Asians. Nobody does that in an environment where you gotta stay war ready. Don't nobody do that. Nobody does that. No, even the young cats, the OGs tell them, hey, partner, pull your damn pants up, dude. You ain't ready. You ain't ready. This is not the block. This is not your damn sitting in front of your damn mama's house. This is the joint. You got to stay ready on the yard, in the library, in the lunchroom, the commissary. It jumps off anytime and you are expected to be war ready 24/7. Sagging your pants ain't no part of that. Ain't no part of that. I got niggas done did time in here right now, not some of y'all speculating. I got niggas in here. I can say One Love. He done talked about it. I ain't putting this business out there. I'm just saying, One Love, Dan, niggas ain't sagging their pants when they doing prison time. That's some mess y'all saw from some rappers trying to entertain you. Niggas in the joint, niggas ain't locked up sagging their pants. That's it. We ready to fight anytime, any place. He can't be pulling his damn drawers up. Are you kidding me? The essays will be all over him. How the hell you gonna fight and your pants are standing a possibility of falling around your damn ankles? You a dead man walking. You a dead man walking. The moment your pants start coming down, that's it. Oh, they gonna swarm you then. They're like, oh, this nigga is losing all his composure. They gonna swarm you. Hell, y'all watching that happen with videos of your kids in high school today. Soon as his little pants start slipping down below his damn waist, that's it. Oh, get him. That's it. He can't run no fight. He can't move. He gonna have to drop one hand to grab his britches. Oh, that's it. Whole side of his face is left wide open. It's like, oh man. First thing, let me tee off on him. Whole side of his face. Oh, he's the side he grabbed. He dropped his hand to get his pants. Oh, there it goes. Right there. No. No, folks, the sagging your pants is something that somebody's prison wife sold to you when they got finished doing their time. That is not what they do in that place. It ain't. You can go look up MSNBC, Lockup Raw, and any damn thing else you want to. Did you notice, by the way, when the scraps jump off, ain't nobody's pants sagging? I ain't saying they wearing skinny jeans. Ain't nobody got their pants halfway between their waist and between their knees. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's trying to show their drawers off. Oh, no, that's not happening. That's not happening. I've educated you all night. By the way, we ain't never seen that. Just on the streets, You don't see that behind bars. You don't see that because it can't be. That's not ready for combat. Not even close. I mean, when you're talking about a place where the stakes are life and death, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can't sag up in here. No. Gotta keep it up. No. Maybe get back out there on the streets where everybody ain't trying to kill you. That's a different matter. But then again, when you don't want to tell your family what you was really doing behind bars. Other than that, hell no. Hell no. No, even in the joint, even if you somebody's wife behind bars, you still got to be ready. Even if you somebody's bearded wife behind bars, you still got to be ready. So I understand. I mean, out here on these streets and everything, like I say, they used to do that. Now they do something different. Yeah, if you've never seen a generation of young men who the most they can do is fighting is windmilling. Bunch of Negroes slinging their hands like Migos. Like they fight like 30 seconds. Like that video of Cam Newton, quote unquote, getting jumped. Are you serious? That was jumping somebody for real? There's like 6 or 7 of y'all. Really? That's what we got today. That's Generation Skinny Jeans. 7, 8 niggas done jumped on you. Ain't none of them took you down yet. There's 7 of y'all. And not a one of you could take it. The 7 of you couldn't take it. It's not like he's Big Show. It's not like he's Mark Henry. It's not like he's Andre the Giant. This is Cam Newton. It's like 6 or 7 of you. At the same time. 6 or 7 at the same time couldn't move him. Think about that for a moment. They should be out here buying them videos to keep the world from seeing it. They should be buying them videos to keep the world from seeing it. It don't matter what his height is. He's just one man. I'll be damned. It ain't like he's El Gigante. It's one man. It's like 6 or 7 of you niggas. Really? Yeah, and he still had his hat on. He didn't even lose his headgear. He didn't even lose his headwear. What the hell are we raising out here? What the hell are we raising? There's 6 or 7 of you. He ain't lost his hat. Hell, he didn't lose the little band and had his hair up. He ain't lost. What are we doing? There's 6 of you. You know why? Because you basically lack the musculature to be able to hold him and take him down. Can we get 2 of you fellas to grab one leg? Can we try that? Can one of you at least grab him around the ankles? Please, sir, don't leave, please. Can you do that? There's 6 of you. 6. This is where we at. No, it's not because he was trained so well. It's because they're so pathetic. That's why they gotta bring a gun nowadays. It's like, oh, I might chip a nail if I throw a punch at somebody. Auntie, chill. That's where we at today. Baby, these little young niggas today, I'm talking about they ain't trying to get a bruise. They ain't trying to get nothing. They're not trying to get anything. They walk through Walmart holding they damn grocery bags with 2 fingers. They got to keep one hand free to be on their cell phone. And you talking about a military. Let me recruit this for the military. I'll be damned. You'll just have a bunch of skinny jeans wearing niggas sitting up here, sitting around the barracks. Oh, all of this is green. This isn't even a good color. All of this is green. Don't you have a blue or? All I see, green and brown. These clash. I'm talking about the boys, not even the girls. I'm talking about the boys. No. Just recognize it's a different situation now. The strong gobble up the weak. The strong gobble up the weak, man. So, I recommend you be on guard against that. The strong will gobble up the weak. If you're raising your kids for that, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be that. A lot of folks out here, your sons are worthless and useless. You know that. That little nigga been playing video games his whole damn life. The drill sergeant is yelling at the girls, and the girls are looking straight forward. They're yelling at the boys, and the boys break down crying. You know I'm not lying. You know I'm telling the truth. Drill sergeant got your boy over there in the corner in tears. Ain't laid a hand on him. He's over there in the corner. You think he gonna get Bin Laden? You think he gonna get Bin Laden? Okay. All right. This little sapsucker don't want to pump the gas when y'all pull up to the gas station. He's sitting in the back seat, curled up with his knees on his chest, playing on his Game Boy. And you talking about the military. You talking about the military, the safest place. When he's got a gun, the safest place is in front of him. Ain't nobody getting hurt up there. Y'all know it's damn true. Generation skinny jeans, that's it. And another thing, they gotta shoot at point blank range too. They gotta be like right in front of them. They can't even shoot from a distance. It's like if he's more than 3 feet away, he ain't hitting nothing. Everybody's surviving. Everybody's surviving. If it's more than 3 feet, just forget it. It's like Ice Cube and Players Club. Blah, 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 blah. Nothing. 20 bullets flying, no people injured. One fella hit by accident. No, it's a mindset thing. It's a psychological thing. It's a psychological thing. Keep your eyes and your ears open. You'll need them. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. If you are new here to the business, welcome to the program that all your favorite YouTubers love to hate watch. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. If you haven't been to our Patreon, the link is in the description. Got something coming up here soon from our patrons. Got something coming up for them here soon. So, who knows? Maybe you'll get to be a part of that. I want to thank Julian, Marcus, Bernard, everybody here who has contributed to tonight's program on PayPal or Venmo. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you all for watching live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.